Hello everyone and welcome back to the F1 Creator Series sponsored by EA Sports, and it is time for the penultimate round of Season 7, already nearly through the first season on this F1 24 platform, and it is crunch time. There is a championship that's been wrapped up, the Constructors wound up by the Aston Martin team last week. El Giri and GB68 are the victors in that, and El Giri could be gunning for another championship today if he plays his cards right. And yeah, he's got a bit of a commanding lead in that at the moment, so it's every chance he could go for that. But today, we're at Zandvoort, and I am Gareth Allen, and to talk you through it with me is going to be John Eisen Harris. How are you?
I am doing ever so well. I am so looking forward to this Zandvoort, one of the classic circuits in terms of design, a lot of banking, a lot of high-speed corners, a very different challenge than most of the circuits you see now on the F1 calendar. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers perform, and indeed you have to have a sort of a thinking head on your shoulders.
Yeah, it's certainly unique in the nature of the way it's set up, that kind of blend of new and old, to match those safety standards when it came back onto the calendar about 4 years ago at this point. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic to see what we can do in it. And we've only raced here 2 times before. It's quite often in the Mystery Grand Prix and the fan votes, but people just don't vote for it. It doesn't get picked on the Mystery Grand Prix. That's all RNG, so that's fault. But we did it in Season 1, where it was Bushy Ants, certain Bants, who won that one. And it was, of course, in Season 3, where El Giri, our championship leader, got his first ever win in the Creator Series. So it's going to be fascinating to see what kind of pace he can bring out, because of course this F1 24 platform has kind of revolutionized the Spaniard and put him right at the forefront of these championship battles.
Yeah, indeed. The handling model has suited some drivers, not suited other drivers. It's quite a bit of what I call a peaky driving model, where the grip of the car sometimes is a bit inconsistent, as we saw last week in Suzuka. A lot of drivers struggling with rear-end grip. So especially in a circuit like this, where there's a lot of banking, a lot of off-camber corners. There we go. Got it out eventually. It's really a different sort of event to tackle as a driver. But for El Rey, obviously, having the first win here, will it be first championship victory? Sounds like a good scenario for him, doesn't it?
Possibly is. It's really probably time to go over to the driver standings and give a kind of view of that one. So El Giri, 205 points to the good at the moment. That's 35 points ahead of his championship rival and sole championship rival, Tom 97. Alex Gillen missing last week's race to go on a pub crawl, got down the boozer, missing out on a chance to score good points in the Mystery Grand Prix, and it was Japan, where he has scored well in the past as well. So, yeah, he could have been definitely part of this fight if it wasn't for that. Tiamat Marduk, a little bit further down, he's been absolutely cursed. He's got to 1,000 race points in the Creator Series, and he's just not been able to score any more points since it for a number of rounds at this point. And Meraki straight behind him. He's only 2 points behind overall in Creator Series Championship history, and 3 points behind in this season. So there's a battle on there. 998 points Meraki is on, so he could be getting his 1,000th point today in the championship. I think he actually said to me yesterday, if he wasn't doing that well in the race, he'd maybe try and cook it so he got the perfect round number 1,000. So let's see if he does that one. But yeah, fascinating championship battle here. 35 points. Now, it means that El Giri just needs to kind of match Tom 97 this week, and he's got the championship, right?
Easier said than done, because one thing in the Creator Series is nothing is guaranteed, and if you're only a tenth of a second off the pace, you can find yourself down in 5th or 6th place. So, yeah, as we saw in Suzuka, matching somebody's pace sometimes isn't enough. You've got to keep it clean, and especially at a circuit like this, you've got to qualify at the front and sort of control the pace if you want to do that, which is a tall order, that's for sure. But one thing looking at this point table really is that there's battles all throughout the field, and with only 2 races to go, this could all change, especially at the back of the pack. There could be some brilliant racecraft that we see to bring them up into the points. So yeah, I'm so looking forward to this race and the last 2 races indeed.
Yep, a bit of variable weather is predicted as well. Also, a few reserves coming in. Black May, he's going to be making his second start in the F1 Creator Series. Delightful debut last time out. He actually scored a 5th position. Was on for a podium before, that Inter's gamble going onto it a bit early just didn't quite work out for him pace-wise. Let's just quickly get a view of the team standings. I've mentioned it already before. Aston Martins are the champions of Season 7 when it comes to this constructor standings, and it's Visa Cash Up RB. They're in second with Haas close behind. Really, this all kind of mimics quite closely the driver's title, because quite a lot of teams have one strong driver and a less good second driver. Really, it's all about how good that second driver is. And for GB68 being that second driver in the Aston Martin outfit, he's the one who's really put in those points and made it an insurmountable lead with 2 rounds to go.
Yeah, I'd say both of the Aston Martin drivers have done exactly that. Consistency, bringing home points every single time, and it's worked out for the moment in the Drivers' Championship and guaranteed in the Constructors' Championship. Which just proves that sometimes all you need to do is finish second, third place, or in the top 5, and it accumulates. And we've seen with some, let's call them controversial comings together as well, it can just knock you straight out of the points. And that's never what you want, but you've got to learn as a driver to try and avoid those kind of situations. And it's always a difficult balance to have, obviously, because you always want to go for that gap. Every driver wants to go for it. And looking at the points, there's one team that has had the knowledge to not go for the gap sometimes.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because GB's really been pushing for that first ever race win in the Creator Series. He's been with us all 7 seasons. Just hasn't got that race win. GB no wins, we like to call him here. And he's got so close, of course, Belgium, where we had our fabulous debut in the F1 series earlier this season. He was so close, just the strategy not going his way. Tom 97 nailing the strategy that day. And of course, Australia a couple of rounds back, big collision with Tia McMardock, just a little mistake from him in the grass. He accepted that. And he's been pushing and gunning for it. With Chesnoid giving a big raid. Look, hello, Chesnoid. Hope you've had a great stream. Also, the F2 driver. Fantastic to have you along, and I hope that was a good stream for you. But it's interesting that GB's actually been pushing really hard for that first race win, and still just not managing to come up trumps with it.
Yeah, always getting that first victory is so tricky and difficult, because you have that anticipation. When you're in that race leading position on any game, on any title, you think to yourself, maybe this is it. And that's when the mental games with yourself start, coming together. And it can always lead to situations where, for example, you make a tiny error and mistake every single time, and it just ends up slipping away from you. And GB68 definitely has the pace and just needs to find that last little flair to get it across the line. And he's been so close, and it must be said, so unlucky at the moment, but it will happen one day, that's guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%. Hello, KW Fruit. Hello, 12-star in the chat. People get the predictions in. Who do you think is going to qualify well here today? We are going to have mixed conditions. I've been told that rain is forecast for the start of this qualifying session. Of course, Q1, Q2, Q3. What's interesting there, Intermediates Championships could be in Intermediates weather, right? Will we people risk the full wets or the green stripe tyre? It'll be interesting to see there, because of course it doesn't matter if it's dry or wet. If you set the fastest time at the 12-minute mark with those green stripe tyres on, then you could be getting a point for the championship. And Elway, Geary, Tom 97, they're definitely clamouring after every single point that's out there.
Fine margins, yeah, for sure, but it can really be difficult in changeable conditions, obviously, because especially if the rain is getting worse, sometimes you can risk going out on the intermediates, but it's already gone past the intermediate weather, or the other way around, it's got too dry, and then you miss out on setting the perfect time at the perfect occasion. For those fighting for the championship, or fighting just for those couple of points, maybe not feeling the pace in the race today, it can be crucial. And with the championship getting towards the latter end stages, everything's to play for. But that will be up to the drivers, up to their own confidence levels, and unpredictability is the word, I think, for this race.
Yeah, it is going to be unpredictable. And one of those drivers that can bring a bit of unpredictability is Adam Sanderson. We've admired him over in the WRC, in the F2, of course, and in the F1. When he joined, he's quite kind of an agent of chaos, really. Wasn't too consistent, would easily get into mistakes and cause incident and create some Creator Series magic in himself. But really, his form has just improved no end. He's scraping for that first F2 feature race win. And also, in the last time he actually was in the F1 Creator Series, which was, I believe, back in Australia, it was his best finish. P9 was his best finish in the F1 Creator Series he's ever had. So he's someone whose form is just coming on leaps and bounds, isn't it?
Yeah, this is honestly developing into a great plot twist for season 3 of Breaking Point. Honestly, I can't wait to see it. But no, honestly, the development of driver's pace is always great to watch, and it's great to see him go leaps and bounds in terms of confidence, in terms of just the driving style. You can see it's a lot more calm, it's a lot more consistent now. And so, yeah, I think just the upward trajectory will just continue for most drivers. Most of racing is all about form. It's all about confidence and how you feel around the game and the car. And so if you get that groove, it very rarely do get out of it, at least for a few months. So yeah, it's going to be great to see what he can do in the last 2 races.
Yeah, we do have a lobby coming together. I see green tick starting to come along, which is usually a good sign. There's some creator out there. I tell you what, if you're following a creator, they're not in the lobby yet. Get in their chat. Give them some right abuse. That's certified from the Creator Series stream, because they're not in here. Right, okay, we do have a lobby countdown now, so, only 11 minutes after time. Some people really don't like these delays. They really get into their head. And over in the F2 land, Hayden Gullis, he's brutal. If you aren't in by the time they said they would go, no chance, you're not joining. Just straight in, and pulls the plug on that one. So anyway, we do have a lobby countdown. We are very, very close to what will be a fun qualifying session. 3 rounds of qualifying. Of course, we run a 100% race. The full qualifying sessions, we fully simulate what it's like to be an F1 driver for our creators. And yeah, it's a fantastic show. If you're new here for the first time, there's our socials above us. Drop us a follow, whether you're watching on YouTube, on Twitch, and of course people who watch on X. I can't believe that there's actually anyone watching on X, but apparently there's about 52 of you each week, so go drop us a follow there and go on all our socials. There's a lot of output through the week. We of course have there's broadcasts on Friday for the F2, today's obviously F1, and on Mondays we have the WRC, so please do come along to those, because they're great fun, aren't they, John? Especially the WRC on Mondays.
I think all of them are great fun. Honestly, I've commentated on all 3 now, and every single time I just have a blast and a whale of a time. So, yeah, it's always great to see people enjoying their passion and just coming together for great racing and a great event. So, yeah, it's just wonderful.
Yep, and as predicted, it's quite wet out there. Should we have a little sneak peek? Should we go and have a look at
I'm
what
seeing
it's
a lot of rain tires.
That's
on the timing board.
That's not ideal. There we are. Now we have a picture. That's it took a second to come along, but it is there.
It was so dark, just lightning on the track. We had to interrupt the broadcast for a second. No worries. Don't worry about it.
OBS in shambles. Don't worry about it. We'll patch over it in the edits at the end. But there we are. We have Mr. Dale, Blackmere, Alex Gillen. They're all loaded in. And who's going to be the first person to bite here? And look at these tyre choices. We can see live selections in the pits. And I wonder who's going to go for that intermediate laps, because it's I think if everyone's loaded on wet tyres, they should be on wet tyres. But we're seeing people going, you know what, I fancy a little point here.
Yeah, and a lot of them. Oh, as I see someone coming out from the pit lane, I think that's one of the Saubers coming out. No, it is not. It's one of the Visa Cash apps, I think.
Yes, it's one of the RBs, and it will be JD Devil Noob out there on a wet pair of tyres. So he's not interested in that intermediate championship. He's out there just to get those laps in. Of course, one of our reserve drivers. I think his best placing so far this season is a P11. So let's see how he can do. But yeah, he's going out there, going through Hugenholtz for the first time in this series of S's. Just trying to find a grip. Hopefully he doesn't do a bit of a Logan Sargent here, because that would end his day very early.
Yeah, a lot of people will be looking at the weather board right now, seeing if the rain is increasing or decreasing, and then making their strategy from there on out. For those who think that they can get through to Quali 2 and Quali 3, they will probably not be thinking too much about the intermediate strategy at this point. It's looking very, very slippy, I must say, out there. You can see just by the small corrections every single corner here. And it's looking very risky, because you want that point, obviously, but if you slip off the road and break a tyre or a front wing, that can severely compromise your qualifying, if not end it altogether. So yeah, a bit of a risky strategy to undertake, but a lot of drivers seeing that opportunity here.
Yep, GB No Wins, here he is. He's back from his hiatus from the series. He wasn't actually there to finish the race where they won the Constructors, but he is here to try and pick up some intermediate championship points, and we will ride along with the Brit, who hails from Newport. as he attempts to go for that faster time on the inters in treacherous conditions. I think it's being suggested that he goes on to the wet tyre, but he's risking a pair of intermediates for that championship points as he goes over the line to start his lap. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do as he throws it into Tarzan. He's got to find a grip. Will it be on the outside of the corner? Still hugs it quite close. He feels that's the fastest line. And then we go towards a series of corners, just throw quick and fast here, up through Hugenholtz, named after the circuit runner, the administrator from the 1950s. He also designed tracks such as Suzuka. And we go through this series of S's and blind cresses towards a dangerous right-hander of Skyflak. Just got to feed it into the corner, find the grip on the apex and feed it through the rest of this lap. And it's looking okay considering the conditions, isn't it, John?
I'm looking at the wheel and I'm seeing a little bit different. The amount of twitchiness of the car and micro corrections here is... I mean, you've got to give credit to the driver for driving it like this and making it look easy, but I'm sure from their perspective it's not easy at all. But it looks like the lap will be possible. Quite a few drivers coming around to complete their laps, and most of them on intermediate tyres, so a lot of them going for it. This is looking like a very, very solid lap from GB68, as we've got our first time on the board from Devil Noob, and a 123.1. Will that be bettered? I think that was on wet tyres, though, so that is not going for intermediate pace. Let's see how the intermediates compare.
Yep, so I think this is going to be slower, and I think it's going to be dramatically slower, because it's not like... Oh, no, I'm completely wrong. 22.962. It wasn't lighting up the sector times until that final sector. That's when he went fastest. Elray Giri, he's coming around Ari Leindyke now, named after the two-time Indy 500 winner, and he is setting fast times for the middle sector. He's on the intermediates, of course. He's on the wet, so he's not bothered about that point at all. He's gone onto a wet pair of tyres there, so that extra point, he's not bothered about it. I thought he'd be going for it. That's very peculiar, but that's why he's significantly faster, 9 tenths faster than his teammate. That guy Vince on the wets also going a bit faster, but GB68 currently leading that Intermediates Championship battle, but cars out there at the moment on those inters. Tiamat Marduk heading through the first sector now and going into the banking of Hugenholtz. He's going to look to do something decent on this, but it's going to be really difficult to beat that time with GBs. It's already looking quite consistently fast here.
Yeah, I'd say looking at the rain conditions, it looks to be getting a tiny bit worse subjectively. It looks like the rain is falling a little bit heavier, and you can see the understeer through that corner just mid-apex. The car had no turn in whatsoever. And even here now, going straight nearly out onto the curb, you do not want to be doing that in wet weather conditions. It does look like the conditions are dropping off for the intermediate tyres, but maybe also the intermediates are just getting too cold effectively in the rain conditions and just losing all of the grip. I must say also for Elray, it's probably the consistent strategy that has got him in the lead of the championship in the first place that has dictated him not going out on the intermediate tyres. The safe sort of suggestion to do, really. He doesn't need that 1 point, he just needs to secure a bag of points to finally get that championship. So 1 point is not going to make a huge difference in that. Unless something really bad happens during the race. This is looking like a very good lap from Tiamat Marduk. Let's see where it is. It is ahead of GB68, and Meraki has gone slightly faster as well, but look at that. 7, and well, I say that, Alex Gillen goes fastest on intermediate tyres with a 1:21.8. So a lot of drivers putting in very fast laps.
They're putting in those times, but it's after the 12-minute mark. And for my money, it was Meraki who had his time on the board at that 12-minute mark. So I'm going to go out on a limb and actually say that Meraki's picked up that intermediate points. If it's not Meraki, it's GB, because Tiamat Marduk set his lap 8 seconds away from it being that 12-minute mark. And that's what we take it from. The first 6 minutes of Q1 is where it matters. Alex Gillen, super fast enough air intermediates, and it's a good time. But with the conditions set to improve, it may be beaten anyway. And because he just didn't get it in fast enough, he actually surrenders that point there.
Mistimed it, maybe then. It's very difficult to know how long it's going to take you on an outlap here. I don't think really they calculate for that in the wet conditions, but it will be slightly slower than in the dry, and finding a good piece of track is all the more important because of not wanting to get caught up behind the spray of another car. The sometimes erratic driving that you can see in the wets just adding to the dangerous grip conditions, really. You've got varying factors that can add 20-30 seconds to your outlap, so maybe that's the calculation there that has not gone well. And that guy Vince staying out, I think, on the wet weather compound tires has gone 7/10 of a second faster. That is a speedy lap, to say the least.
Yeah, he's looking to show that those wet tyres still have a lot of performance. Sky Z on those intermediates now. He's improved, of course, the shock race winner from last week. He has been nowhere through F1 24. He's had an absolutely torrid time. But when the rain came out, he picked the right time to switch over to the Inters. And he basically was untouchable from that moment on. So Sky Z knows how to use the wet conditions to his advantage, and is only a 10th behind that lap. So track conditions definitely improving. I think we'll see the crossover to intermediate soon, and I think we are pretty close to it. Unstopped Rob now going fastest of all.
Yes, nobody cut back to 5 minutes ago where I said the weather was getting worse. But anyway, yes, weather improving now. Twice we've had the commentator's curse on ourselves this time. So it's going very, very well so far. But yeah, those times tumbling. Tom97 now nearly improving by a second as well. So this is going to be down to the last lap. With maybe 1 minute or 2 minutes to go, or even just crossing the line with a few seconds to go. You want to be that last driver on the track, because probably in 9 minutes time there's going to be virtually no spray on the track and a dry line forming, if not a nearly dry track. So everybody out there just getting used to the changing conditions here. And yeah, as we see the times coming down, SkyZ goes even faster by a 10th of a second, nearly dipping under the 120. So this is getting rapid already.
Yeah, just for confirmation, I've gone back and I've looked at the replay. 12:00, Meraki is at the front with the intermediate tyres. Ben still on the lap, still rounding out Ari Leindijk at the time, so he mistimed it. He's not getting that point. JSM, I got you. We know it here. We know it in the booth better than anyone. Let's say that. But yeah, Unstopped Bob, he's going faster. Sky Z improving all the time. And yeah, let's just see, because these lap times are just going to tumble and tumble and tumble. That guy Vince now switched over to those intermediate tyres in the pits. He knows that the conditions are going to get better, and it could be a fantastic end. Anyone could get through. It's all about being on the right lap at the right time as the conditions get better throughout this session.
Yeah, a lot of drivers just carrying around, doing lap after lap on these tires, just either trying to get the perfect conditions or the perfect tire temperatures on the tires. And with a few minutes time, I think they'll be wanting to get back into the pits for a fresh set of tires. I don't think it'll be enough for dry tires. Obviously, the rain's still falling a little bit, but a lot of drivers thinking that now is the perfect sort of track conditions to try and set some laps. Unstopped Rob still with the fastest time there of a 19.5, which is quite a considerable margin ahead of everybody else. Devil Noob moves up to second place now on a fresh set of intermediate tires. So is it that the weather's going to get worse at the end of the session? I've got a lot of question marks here.
Well, everything that I say is that it's going to stop raining. Everything I can see says stop raining. So I think it's going to get better. Conditions are going to improve. But we do see some cars still out on wets. Adam Sanderson, he's fresh out of the pits. He's gone out on a pair of wets. Is he going to peel back into the pit lane here? Yes. He thinks the grip conditions are more favourable for the other cars at this point, and doesn't want to be caught out of sequence here during these crucial moments. Meraki out there at the moment. He is going through the first sector. Middle sector, in fact. It's at, yes, I'm completely blind to that one. Yes, it is a middle sector he's going through, and he is he's looking fast. He's looking to set some decent times. In fact, it was fastest of all through the middle sector. So, not surprising. Margin. Yeah, a big chunk. Elway Giri also going fast out there as well. So we're going to keep an eye on him. But Meraki, he knows what it's like to be a champion in the Creator Series. 117. Look at that. That's a huge jump. Elway Giri, he hopes to know what it will be. What it will be to be a champion, if I can get my words out, by the end of the day. And he's showing that track improvement is there, and showing that he's the king of Zandvoort here.
Oh, 0.5 of a second. That is a statement to make, isn't it? No matter what the conditions, I have you all covered is basically the message that he's putting out there. And it is looking like it's quite effective for the moment. That was a hell of a lap. Just lighting up every single sector. Purple. and that is the way you want to do it, a bit like Lando Norris in qualifying. Just get all of those sectors in, make sure that nobody else even has an eye in, as Meraki is in second place now, so a very good lap from Meraki as well, but it's looking like a tiny little mistake, I think, in the second sector denied him, third sector, sorry, denied him a chance at pole, well, provisional first place, not pole, obviously. There's 3 qualifying slots here, so long way to go for the drivers, but definitely you can see the confidence here as they're drifting through the corners now. Definitely the tire temperatures will be rising with that. You need the tires to last the entire lap, so perhaps not the best strategy there.
Yeah, Mr. DNF himself, Dale JE, 30 DNFs to the good in the F1 Creator Series, and he is putting it on the limit out there. He's right in that drop zone, and the car's at danger at the moment on the bubble. Tia McMurdoch, GB68, he's in 16th position. Hoodie Pete is 17th. Mr. Dale is in 18th. 19th is Sasso, who has just recovered from a bad computer issue where he was still on Windows Service Pack 1 for XP. And you also see, but Mr. Dale pulling himself out of that drop zone now and putting Tia McMurdoch into it. So these laps are going to be absolutely crucial. Everyone's going to have to be out there. No one is safe here.
Yes, looking at the sector times, there's a lot of purple sectors going on at the moment, with Meraki fastest in the first sector of anybody in this entire session. So the time's tumbling with only 4 minutes on the clock here. You can see the driving style change a little bit as they've got more grip in the tires. Visually, there is less rain on the track. There's more of a dry line, so you can start pushing the car a lot more as Meraki once again goes fastest in the second sector, but Alex Gillen fastest even more in the first sector. So the time's just absolutely tumbling. It's looking like for Meraki this is going to be a lap to put in provisional pole for the moment in the first part of qualifying. And just look at that. First place, but that probably is going to be beaten as a lot of drivers going faster behind.
Yep, in the drop zone at the moment, Adam Sanderson, Tim McMurdoch, GB, Safso, and Jaden, and they are all... I mean, Safso hasn't gone out here. He's still leaving it last minute. He's still going to maybe come out and trundle out around 2:30. If he doesn't go out, he may be joining us in the commentary booth for the rest of the session. So we'll see how that goes for him. Of course, we hope he gets through, but he's really put no time into the game over the last 2 weeks, so he's felt like he's going to be off the pace here, certainly. But Tim McMurdoch in the drop zone. And even if he improves here, it may still not be enough. We don't know what we're dealing with. You've got to find every single best bit of lap here. Every single bit of energy usage has got to be conserved and applied at the right time as we head through this little chicane of Hans Ernst and towards the final sector. And he's looking okay through that middle sector. It's looking okay. It's not personal. It's personal best, but it's not all-time best, but he doesn't need that. He just needs to get through into the next session. He mistimed his intermediate lap. On these intermediates, what can he do? Up to 6th position, so that's good, but it's still some way off the pace. 1 second away from Alex Gillen, a 1:16.8 he's put in. That's looking very, very safe, but 1:18, I'm not uber confident with that.
I don't think that is safe. The times are tumbling, and it's worth saying that the drivers still, during that lap, they still had enough time to come in there. Wow, that was close from GB68. Incredible save mid-corner there. Just getting the counter steer absolutely perfect. Losing a tiny bit of time, but it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. He'll have at least another lap to nail that time. But basically anything he puts on the board now, apart from going completely off the racetrack, is going to be an improvement. So let's see where it puts him at the moment. It's looking great, but not exceptional. I will be honest, a few tenths of a second off in each sector, maybe just getting an eye in, and in fact he's backed off with the lap completely, going again for this lap. So one more, maybe 2 more opportunities as we've got a driver maybe off. Nope, second sector, just somebody having a little bit of a slowdown, I think, and the game recognizing that. So drivers aborting their laps. Obviously, the grip level's changing now, maybe making the car a bit more oversteery or understeery, depending on your setup. Really catching some drivers out.
Yep, you're sincerely right on the bubble here, and this lap, I think it has to count. It's doubt he'll get through, and look at that, look at the surface. It's really getting close to dry conditions. M-Sky-Z puts it in to the best slot you can be in Q1 at the moment as things stand, but the track's improving, and what's really crucial at these stages, are the drop zones. Of course, once you get through to Q2, it's a fresh slate. We all know that. And it really just is important to get out of here. So yours and Silly right on the bubble here. Unstopped Rob also in a danger. GB and Safso. GB having to go again after a bit of a dodgy lap last time around. In the Williams, pulling in for curbs. Can he do anything out of the ordinary here? Can he just put himself a little bit higher? He looks to be improving through the first sector, not through the second sector. And it's slower. It is slower. So that's not good news for Jaden. And yours sincerely, 17th place. He's going to have another stab at the cherry here. He has just got enough time. But GB68 coming around the final corner. He isn't going to have enough time if this isn't going to be good. I think it's going to be enough to improve up to second position. He's found Tam. Now Safso, the Season 1 champion. He's all the way down in 20th position. Look at the Ferraris. Infratic, Razin Shai. They're also under threat here. I think that is Infratic coming through the... no, sorry, it's Razin Shai coming through the final corner now. So he's going to have to show what pace he has. Unveil it. Use it at the right time, and he is going to go up into 5th position. Infratic down there. Blackmere's been knocked out. So has Adam Sanderson. He's not going to improve. Safso is looking for improvement as he comes out at the final corner, splits the timing beam. Can Safso do anything to get himself out of it? Yes, he can. That's him safe. Now, that's JD Devil Noob knocked down. Hoodie Pete right on the bubble here. Emphatic coming through that final sector. Jaden also just behind. Both of those could knock out the likes of Hoodie Pete. I was going to say Alex Gillen. Alex Gillen has just improved, but Tiamat Marduk and Hoodie Pete are not safe in this session. Emphatic around the final corner. Is he going to improve? He does improve. He knocks Hoodie Pete out, and Tiamat Marduk survives by one single position.
Wow, that was a chaotic end to qualifying. Just the times tumbling, some drivers cracking a little bit under pressure, and that is the brutal nature of this track with all of the camber and banked curbs and all of that. Yeah, what a display of driving, though, from all of our drivers. Very few mistakes out there, big mistakes, which is surprising to see in these changeable conditions. But definitely for Elray, what an outstanding performance in the changing conditions. Basically fastest at every single point during this session as the time started to tumble. Every single time there was an improvement on track, he improved on his time. Just a supreme display of confidence for the moment. It can change, but it's looking good so far, it must be said.
Yep, so Hoodie Pete reserving in for Nogueira this week. He's not gone through. JD Devil Noob, he is in for, I can't remember who he's in for, but yeah, it's confirmation. Elway Giri fasted in that session. He's starting as he means to go on, but indeed, it's Hoodie Pete, JD Devil Noob, Blackmere, yours sincerely, and Adam Sanderson. We kind of gave him a kiss of death, didn't we? With talking about how well he's been doing, and now he's got in P20. He'll be starting dead last, unless there's a disqualification later on in the day. Tiamat Marduk, he's the one whose bacon has been saved today by slightly slow cars, but there is a decent gap of pace between Hoodie Pete and Tiamat Marduk. So under pressure, maybe on the board, but not under pressure under lap time.
Yes, indeed. I will say for Adam Sanderson, I'm looking for a script around here because that is a decent script for a comeback story. So, yeah, most definitely. He's probably not happy with that qualifying situation, but there's always the chance for a recovery towards the going into the race. It's a long race. Lots can happen in this race. It's a very strategic race. You've got to think about strategy. Starting at the back, paradoxically, gives you an option to take any strategy that you want because you can't go backwards. So yeah, it's sort of a liberty and freedom that other drivers won't have. But obviously every driver wants to start towards the front, and unfortunately there can only be a few drivers doing that. Going into the second session of qualifying, we will find out further who will be our top 10 drivers and who will be scratching their heads about their quali pace.
Yep, certainly. No one got out there yet. They're leaving it late. Of course, we do have a dry session now, so we'd expect for them to go out on dry tyres. You never know with these lots. Sometimes they do something a bit peculiar, and you can't quite put your finger on it. But yeah, there we are. We do have a bit of movement. And my money's at Safso. Safso's always the first one to go, isn't he? The Season 1 champion. He did it early, and he's proving me wrong straight away. I could have just looked, right? I could have just given myself like the chance to actually know that. But instead, I just put my foot right in it and walk on. That's what commentators do great, isn't it, John?
Most definitely, yes. We're definitely always known as commentators for getting everything right and always looking at the correct information. That's yeah, and going off track just for good measure. I must admit, yes, okay, they have grooves. They are like rally tires, so I guess that's a valid strategy. Maybe not the best for setting a good lap time though. But I must say it's good to see drivers out on track. Gives us something to watch, and an outlandish strategy for the super soft compound tires. Maybe it'll be better over a lap. I maybe doubt that now.
Yep, the number of points for PS1 Hagrid and Safso. He's out there. He's got the most starts in Creator Series history. This is it. So he had a bit of a computer issue. And he was thinking he's going to miss the rest of the season. Emphatic would overtake him as the most starts. But he installed a simple update, and the game works brilliantly again for him. But he's had no practice. So he's going to go out on a pair of inters, find a little bit more kind of pace, save tyres for the race. And yeah, just try and really, home it in the race. Because that's, of course, where you score the major points. The points for qualifying, they're kind of over at this point, really. The Intermediate Championship in Q1, that's the only time you can score points. There's no point for fastest lap. For pole position, there is a point for fastest lap. But Safso out there, throwing it through Hugenholtz. He's just looking to get a time on the board and just find a little bit more kind of track learning, and then he'll probably throw on a pair of softs at the end of this session, but save them for the race, because it could be a bit of a kind of change in strategy here, where mediums and softs are more readily used compared to the hard tyre that we often see at other circuits on this game.
Indeed, two things that I can think of really is it's a track that tends to lead towards a few incidents and safety cars, so perhaps we'll see safety cars. In that case, saving a fresh set of soft tyres could be a winning strategy. But also, yes, obviously with the corners sort of chained together and interlocking, being on the harder compound tyres can be devastating, especially when you're trying to get those tyres warm after pitting. With cars being able, quite literally, I've seen it before, able to go round the outside of you because you have no grip. So yeah, obviously maybe a 2 or 3 stopper coming into effect in this race. We'll have to wait and see what drivers have planned, because as we all know, a plan is great to have, but usually it all ends after turn 1 and you have to reconsider what you're doing anyway. But for sure, obviously the softer compound tires will be very, very good to have at the start of the race. This being a track where it's quite difficult to overtake in the second and third sectors, apart from that main straight. So yeah, drivers will have to consider their strategies carefully. One thing that you can do, though, is to get a very good time on the leaderboard in quali to make your race strategy a bit easier to calculate.
Yeah, and Adam Sanderson has actually said he's got some words to say. He's got some things to say about the curse that we put on him, saying how great a driver is, how well he's improved. Then you go put it on P20. What is that about, Adam Sanderson? What has happened to you?
Oh, dearie me. I messed up the timing. I was going to start my fastest lap as soon as the session finished. Literally 5 seconds more and I would have got a lap in. But alas, it is what it is. We move on. But to be honest with you, it's not the worst thing being last around this place, because I bet you there's going to be a big coming together, and I'm going to hope I can plan a strategy around that and work my way forward. But we'll see. We'll see.
Starting from the back is obviously quite liberating in terms of strategy. So have you got something outlandish planned now, or is it just going to be try and carve everybody up and get through the pack?
I rate my chances here. In the F1 cars, more so in the F2 cars, but alas, we're in the F1s today. I've got something outlandish. Well, at least I think it's outlandish. Whether or not it is outlandish is another matter. I just gotta hope someone causes a safety car at a perfect moment, and then we might be laughing.
Is that vibe that we have from the F2 series? Is it going to be a bit of bowling, sending it in where a move isn't going to be done? I don't know who I'm talking about here, because obviously I'm a very clean driver. But will there be any Gareth Allen-esque moves out there?
I might have to channel the old GA at points to get the moves done, but don't you worry, there'll be moves coming from the car starting in P20. Don't you worry about that.
Well, we'll love to see it. And Adam, yeah, we'll definitely be keeping an eye on your progress as well. You better not DNF turn 1 now. If you've hyped yourself up that much, I'm expecting good points. I'm expecting you to beat your best position. Do you know the last time you raced was your best finish in the Creator Series? Do you know that?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Van Australia, P9. That was good. I had pacer on there, and if I stayed out and did the one stop, like my chat were telling me, and consistently tell me since then you should have done so, then I reckon I could have got in top 5. But alas, that wasn't meant to be. Maybe the top 5's on the cards for today.
Wow.
Who knows?
There we are. We've heard it here first. Adam Sanderson, he's getting his first W in the Creator Series.
Whoa. I don't know that far. GB will probably take me out before that happens. Whoa. No joke. Love you, GB.
Probably, let's face it. Anyway, Adam, I really appreciate you joining, and I hope the rest of your qualifying, being a spectator like us, is fun.
Oh, thank you so much. My watch-alongs are back.
Fantastic. Cheers, Adam. Always great to hear from him. He's a joy, isn't he?
Most definitely. I'm just trying to calculate. Do jinxes cancel themselves out? How does that work? Because I counted at least 5 jinxes in there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see which one catches him out. But for sure, if he does manage to get through all of the chaos, I can't wait to see what he has planned. But obviously, sort of betting your race strategy on a safety car is a dangerous risk there, of just being out in the middle of nowhere on a strategy that is not the fastest. But we'll see. Obviously, we've seen in the past some of the racing here has been very wheel-to-wheel, side-by-side for many corners. So it could happen. And I think see the times tumble once again during qualifying.
Yep, GB68, he's put himself further up the board. That guy Vince currently leading the charge, first position. Elway Giri, he set a lap time, but it's not very good. It was on a pair of intermediates, though, in fairness to him. But still, it's not very good. Razin Shai now going to the top of the timing screen. 109.278 for him, so that's very close. 2 thousandths of a second between him and that guy Vince. That's looking to be quite a competitive time from the Red Bull driver. Another driver not to have a win in the series. Only 1 podium to his name, Mexico, a few seasons ago. He's been desperate for another podium in the series. He could have got it in Japan, he feels, but maybe just bottled his strategy. But Razin Shai improving out. Well, he has improved out there. Emphatic, his teammate, he's coming through that final sector now, and it's interesting to see what Fabio could do here.
Indeed, there's a lot of drivers looking for a little boost of confidence here. There's been quite a few drivers just having incidents here and there in the previous races. So we'll be looking to this one to get not only a good qualifying, but just a more consistent race pace and not making any major mistakes. This is a track where you need extreme confidence to chuck it into the corners, especially braking zones, trail braking. As you can see here, round the long banked hairpin there. You've got to be so good on the brakes, on turn in, on the throttle. This challenges every single aspect of the driving. So if you can get a good lap time here, usually it means that you're on top of everything and you can really try and push it during the race. Because you have everything on lockdown, and that is really good and encouraging to see from drivers at the top at the moment. Although I must say it's looking extremely close at the top with only 4 thousandths of a second between the top 2.
Yep, very close battles here. Tim McMurdoch out there, he's not set any purple sector times, but there are a few purples out there. 1,000 points to his name. Maybe the last time we can say that he is the reigning champion in the Creator Series today, because Elway Giri could just clinch it away from him. But there we are, no purple sectors except from the final sector, where he's absolutely lit it up, and Tim McMurdoch is back in the Creator Series.
Indeed, just wanting to stamp his authority on the championship for one last time, maybe before he loses that title in current at the moment. But most definitely, the times are looking a little bit inconsistent from everybody at the moment. There's some very fast sectors, but so far, nobody's managed to put together a insane lap with multiple fastest sectors, which is quite surprising. Meraki, again, another driver, fastest by quite a margin in the first sector, and then dropping off toward the end. Not sure whether that's something to do with setup or something to do with compromise on the intermediate strategy. but indeed very, very puzzling at the moment, with drivers being so consistent in the rain and now dipping out a little bit with what can be considered slightly easier driving conditions.
Yep, Tom 97, now he's going to cross the line, improve second position, that's good. He needs to be in front of Elway Giri today. He needs to better him, to give himself a chance at taking the Season 7 Championship to the final round. Every Creator Series Drivers' Championship has gone to the final round in the F1. And if we want that to happen again and keep that start alive, then Tom 97's got to push, and hope a little bit of misfortune goes Elway's way. Sure, he doesn't hope for other people's misfortune. It's something, I do as a commentator. Take great pleasure seeing the misfortune of drivers as Dale improves out there, putting himself into 10th position. I think he didn't actually improve the position. He just kept the time the same. Improved the time, but kept his position the same. But yeah, he needs to have a bit of fortune on his side today to keep that championship fight alive.
Yeah, well, it can only go wrong for so long. You can have a few bad races, a bit of inconsistency, but again, if you're in that championship fight, you're doing something right. And so you can just use that a little bit to pull yourself back together, pull a bit of confidence in, and it can change. Form is temporary, as they say, and it can swing in your favor from one race to another. And so you've just got to keep the confidence, and mathematically, as long as it's not over, you just got to keep pushing. And I think every driver does that anyway, regardless of whether they're in the championship hunt or not. They want to get the most out of every single race, and will be going for it, as Tim Marduk and Tom 97 think they've done enough for this qualifying session.
So does Alex Gillen, but he's in a left favourable position. Now there's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left on the board. I think everyone below Alex Gillen would come out for another lap here. GB68, we've seen, he can be a fast driver. Dart Viper, 4th in Las Vegas a few rounds ago. Super consistent in the F2. Great WRC driver. We know he can pull a lap out when he needs it. Elway Giri, these people could improve and easily knock Alex Gillen out of this one. Is it, I either get for I don't. I just don't want to spend the tyres and I want to keep them for the race, or is that just a bit of a miscalculation from the freak in the sheets?
I'm puzzled, really. It's not really an Alex Gillen strategy to do that, to be honest, I don't think. So maybe it's just a thing of, I've used up all the tyres that I can use realistically in the session. And if I can't get through on these tyres, then I'm going to compromise myself into the top 10. So there's that to maybe throw against it. But yeah, quite puzzling, because I think he's on the cusp of being knocked out. He's only 0.2 of a second currently safe. So that's not a huge margin, and looking at some of the times on the leaderboard, it's going to be close. So a bold strategy. Let's see if it pays off for him.
The classic always needs to come out at least once through. But Dart Viper GT, he's out there. He's in the drop zone at the moment, but he was improving through the first sector. He didn't improve through the middle sector. So he is spending his battery here. His battery, I believe, isn't going to be redeemable here, so he is opening up his DRS, going around Ari Dyke, going towards, a little bit of a toe there from GB68 or Elway Giri indeed. I'm not sure who that is quite ahead of him, but he does improve. 7th position for him.
Alex Gillen gets bumped down.
Yeah, he gets to bump down a place. Do you know what I mean? Dart Viper, GB68, Elway Giri, Saf so emphatic. You'd expect these guys to improve. Unstopped Rob as well. I think there could be some big names dropped out of this one. Elway, definitely. We're following along with him. He's the championship leader. He sets a super fast first sector. It's not looking great where Alex Gillen is sitting.
Yeah, this is not looking good. I think he's going to have to perform some voodoo on some of the drivers to get them to crash at this point. But yeah, most definitely, looking at that board, seeing the fast drivers behind him, only 2 of them need to improve, and he's out of the running for Quali 3. So we've got Unstopped Rob across the line. Is it going to be enough? No, it is not, actually. That's 1 driver out of the running here. We've got GB68 still on track, and his teammate El Rey, who we're on board with. This is looking like probably a comfortable time from El Rey, looking at the sectors. Is it going to be enough? Well, certainly it is enough. That's the fastest time of all. GB68, is it going to be enough as well? And that is Alex Gillen out of qualifying.
Yep, Alex Gillen out of qualifying. Miscalculation on his front. or maybe a calculation, a risk he decided to take to save tyres. But Dark Viper GT, he's also knocked out Safso, the Season 1 champion, coming back in, barely prepared for this race. He hasn't had the chance to prepare, hasn't been able to boot the game. He's into Q3, so that's a sensational result from Safso. He was talking to me beforehand. He was saying, hey, I could come to the booth, I could do this, I could do that. Coming up with all these ideas, because he did not have the confidence to go through here. But he has got into the top 10 shootout, and it's Dark Viper, Alex Gillen, Unstopped Rob, Mr. Dale, and Matty D13 were the 5 runners who are going to be out of that top 10 shootout, and they will not get a chance at pole position.
Yes, indeed. There's quite a few drivers in there. I think they will be disappointed. Dark Viper, Alex Gillen, Unstopped Rob definitely will be sort of, I think, holding their head in their hands on that one. Few mistakes maybe just creeping in. It's always the same when you have that one lap at the end where you need to improve the time by at least a couple of tenths. You have to go flat out for Alex Gillen, just retiring, probably preserving tyres maybe for the race. But yeah, you can see the times. They're so close around this track. 0.4 of a second being the cutoff there. And wow, that's one mistake. That's one twitch of oversteer, one lock of the brakes that you don't want, or one missed apex. So it's fine margins, and not every driver can get it right every single time.
No, certainly not. Alex Gillen's second mistake in 2 days, because of course in the F2 yesterday, he participated for the first time, dove into pits in the VSC during the feature race. Doesn't count as your mandatory pit stop, so he was caught out by that one, and he's been caught out by something, of his own making here. I think, it's not the end of the world, right? We hype these moments up. These qualifying matters moments. It's fun to talk through it. They have lots of moments going on, but crucially, the race is to come. The points are to be scored. And now we are just looking to find out those final 10 positions. Where are they going to finish? Where are they going to put themselves? And both Ferraris through here. Good running from them. Both Aston Martins through. Tom 97 through, of course. He's in that fight with El Rey Giri for the championship. So that's really something really worth focusing on here. Tom 97, he wants to be ahead of El Rey Giri from race start here. He wants to be the one who controls the race. But El Rey Giri, equally, he'd like to be the first out there and leading and knowing that the championship is in his hands. He doesn't need to do anything to get him to beat him. But GB68, he's straight out there. He's looking to find a little bit of pace, help out his teammate in any way he can to secure that championship.
Yes, it's going to be a very strategic race, this one. As you said, qualifying always important, but at the end of the day, you have to think also about the race. If you do have a bad qualifying, or if you qualify in the mid-pack, you just got to keep your nose clean, and sometimes it can just come to you in the race. Qualifying isn't everything. The points are scored during the race, so obviously for the contenders in the championship, they'll want to be on that front row, but for the rest of them, they'll just be wanting to profit from any mistakes during the race. But yeah, qualifying always one of the highlights, I think, of the Formula 1 races, because you get to see the cars absolutely flat out, whereas sometimes during the race you've got to manage the tyres, manage temperatures, manage fuel, ERS, and back off a tiny bit so that you can have the optimum strategy. But here in qualifying, it's pedal to the metal, and GP68 just, I think, on the outlap still, but trying to apply the throttle a tiny bit too early, and nearly spinning it on the exit as he goes for his first fast lap of quali 3. Little bit of a lock-up in turn 1, but pretty good now into the hairpin section here. Again, just carrying the momentum, carrying the speed, supreme confidence. It's looking solid, but a few micro mistakes creeping in there might be good enough for maybe a top 5, but I doubt with the pace being so high today that this will be enough for a pole position lap. But then again, jinxes work in very random ways. Yeah,
it's obviously the fastest first sector of all so far, but that's only because certain people haven't gone through yet, and there we are, it goes. It's not the fastest, and as you say, it's looking a little bit mid-pack through that first sector. We're going to get to that second sector now. Been a little bit cleaner through here, so good here from GB, as he likes to be named. He's even changed his name to GB68, and I'm still going to call him GB68. He doesn't like that, but at least I'm not calling him GB69, hey. As he rounds out the final couple of corners, he's going to be the first person to set a time here in this Q3 session. Opens up the DRS, and splits the timing beam. It's a 109.545, and that's about the time that Alex Gillen got knocked out with yesterday in the last session. So not fantastic from him. Tim Marduk, he's coming through, and he's going to set a much better lap. Fastest through the first and second sectors, fastest overall. That is super impressive.
That is a time that could be very, very difficult to beat. I was talking about you need to have that one perfect lap. That is looking like it might be one up there. Although El Rey is actually going faster in the first sector there by nearly 1/10 of a second. So the time's tumbling down here. Tom97 just getting oh so close, 6,000ths of a second off the pace, and really the pace at the, I think, second sector there, catching him out quite a bit. But the margin's so fine. You've got to carry the speed through the corners. Here comes El Rey. Is it going to be good enough for a fastest lap? For the moment, it's going to be close, and it is by 100th of a second. So fine margins. Can you believe it?
Yeah, but fastest in that first sector, but not for the second and third. So very, very interesting to see where the speed is coming for the championship leader, the Spaniard, who's on a mission to go and get that first Creator Series title for him. Meraki, now he's coming towards the line. A lot of curb use on the exit. Maybe just unsettles the car on exit, but he's coming down. Hasn't set an amazing first and second sector, only good enough for fifth. So what we were talking about, GB being a bit mid-pack, he's looking below that. Even Emphatic has managed to get in front of him. That's a bit harsh on Emphatic. No, it's not. I'm going to stick by it. Even Emphatic has got in front of GB68 here. So that just shows that lap really not being anywhere here. Razin Shai, he knows how to win a championship. He comes to the line and he yeah, well, that's decent. There we are, 109.298. So we know now what we're looking for. We're looking for a 108 if you're going to beat El Rey's time. And it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can come close to that. Tim Marduk, El Rey Giri, and Tom97 all look super close here. And this could be a spectacular final part of Q3 here.
Yeah, this is looking like one for a grandstand finish. Hopefully the race will be that way as well. It's looking like it, but it's looking like as the championship comes to an near enough to an end now, all of the drivers putting in that practice, getting those setups dialed in, and they're just converging towards a pace where it gets more and more difficult to get that last 1/10 of a second out of them. So yeah, the times here might be some of the fastest for the moment. It's always a difficulty to replicate a fast time after you've set a lap that's close to your personal best.
Interesting to hear Tim Marduk in and out. He's just going in and out. He's straight away. Oh, Tom97 actually gone and improved his lap time, so that's spectacular from him. He's gone on a 108.
By a long way.
Wow.
0.2 of a second. Whoa, that's a statement to make, isn't it? And the first time that we've had the drops into the 1 minute and 8 seconds. That is fast, and just lightning fast here.
Yeah, don't rule him out. Do not rule him out at this stage. I think that may have been on a second run, so really he aborted that first lap. Wasn't good enough for him. That's why it's a bit down in the doldrums, and then he's just absolutely crushed the morale with that one. El Rey Giri on an outlap, Tim Marduk on an outlap. He's just about to start what could be his final lap here. He's gone super quick, maybe just giving himself a bit of a buffer even if he makes a mistake, maybe a switch of tyres, maybe something else. We don't have any rain expected, so it's not a rush to beat a weather front, but indeed Tim Marduk coming through Tarzan now, and he's going to come to that series of corners, so iconic here. Chuck it into the right-hander, left-hander of Hugenholtz, take a much tighter line in the game than you do in real life. Avoid that bumping on the outside, it spits you out, and then a series of corners, heading over Blind Crest, through Schlottermarker, into Sky Black, that downward right-hander. Just fantastic commitment through there, now Masters. And then you have turn 9 and 10, where the car just becomes a bit unsettled. Really low traction through these moments. And Tim Marduk swings it into the left-hander, just trying to just plant that back end, because now you have DRS charging towards this chicane and hairpin setup at Hans Ernst. And it's 2 tenths faster, so this looks like a lap time that could rival Tom97. What can he find out of this final sector as he goes through turn 13 and towards Arie Luyendyk, named after the 2-time Indy 500 winner, both times in the 90s. Tiamat Marduk's going to need a time in the 108s to beat Tom 97. Does he do it? No, he doesn't. It's just a little bit away from him. Still good enough for front row at this stage. But Elray Giri, the championship leader, he's out there on a lap at the moment and looking to find time to get ahead of his rival, Tom 97. And yes, right. So we have Elray Giri out there, and he is certainly looking for that time, and he is coming towards that final sector. He does improve through the second sector again, but it's not enough compared to Tom 97 at this stage. It's not fastest through the first sector. That's why he found a lot of time initially. It's not fastest through the second sector. Tom 97 holds those both in the final two sectors. Elray Giri now into the pits. He's bailing out. He wants to take another set of tyres. He wants to take that pole. Look at that commitment that Elray Giri has done here. And, you know, he is going to be in and out. I think he's going to get very fine here. About 2 minutes 30, 2 minutes you need to get in and out here. But Tiamat Marduk, he's also out there. He's also coming in. He maybe thinks he has time to go out there for another lap here. So very interesting. We could see 3 runs in qualifying here. As I'm using, I was wrapping it up. I was thinking we're near the end, but we're not. Of course, we've had our second runs, but the third runs are yet to come by the looks of things.
Yeah, I was just thinking to myself aloud there a little bit that they're going to compromise their outlap. It's going to be so difficult for them to keep the tires in the optimal temperature range. What you want to be doing is sort of cruising on the outlap, sort of preserving that 2% tire wear that you can get if you push the tires a little bit too hard. And sometimes, you know, in trying to rush to get the optimal strategy, trying to stay out there for another lap, just having the confidence to stay out on those tires can actually end up, well, just compromising that last lap, as I said. And for some drivers now, even just the fact that they have to rush things will make those tiny little mistakes creep in their driving. You have to be so calm and just committed to the corners that if you've got that little bit of extra pressure behind you, it can alter the way you drive the car, alter how you think about the braking zones, the turn in, and all of that. Racing fundamentally is a psychological game as well, and yeah, some drivers might have caught themselves out through no fault of anybody else.
Yep, Tom 97, he was the first to go and set that lap, and he's only done well, he's done 2 laps on the first set of softs. He saved a pair of tyres compared to the others, and now he has that final chance to go and improve his time. He found a lot of time on his championship rival, not much compared to Tiamat Marduk, but now it's all on the line. Everyone ahead of him will feel he can improve him. But look at that, he's got a lot of traffic on his map, so people are going to have to be wary that there is a race winning potential coming through here, at least a qualified pole potential driver coming through here. Safso's retired from the session. He's decided he won't be able to improve his time of 4th position at the moment, a supreme time, in fact, putting him in that competition. But Tom 97 through this middle sector, look at the traffic. He's got Tiamat Marduk ahead. He's got Razin Shai and Emphatic ahead. It's a dangerous place for him to be in, and people are noticing him. People are pulling over. I think that will be Emphatic, in fact, in front of him. Tiamat Marduk's rushing to the line himself. He wants to beat the buzzer, but Tom 97, through the first 2 sectors, he's improved. He's looking very fast. Purple. Tom 97, he's had the crowd ahead of him. Now he's going to say to the crowd, this is the time you need to beat. It's going to be a 108.626. 2 tenths faster than Tiamat Marduk, finding a 10.5 on his time. And now Elray Giri, he has something to chase after.
Oh, what a time, what a statement. And with traffic distracting him as well, that is a time to say, this championship is not over by a long shot. I'm going to push it all the way. And now Elray has to respond to that. We will have to wait and see. I'm not seeing any timing at the moment giving us an indication as to whether they're going faster or not. But it's looking like these drivers are committed. Look at that, using every single last inch of the track. And for Tiamat Marduk, staying in the slipstream, I think, of Elray there. So an interesting strategy. We'll be catching him out in certain corners, but obviously using that slipstream, he thinks it to good effect as the drivers are coming across the line now. Will we see improvements? Question mark, who knows?
Yeah, finding time. Tim McMurdoch found time through the first sector. He's got the slipstream on Elway Giri. It could be a better time than Elway Giri. Elway Giri, he improves to second. Tim McMurdoch, he snatches it back off of him, but crucially not enough for that pole position. Tom97 looks to have secured that, unless that guy Vince can pull something spectacular out of the bag. It's good enough for the second row on the grid, but it is not good enough to challenge Tom97, the man who had to be in first today, had to beat Elway Giri out. He's coming here with a fight. He's saying, you've won in Zandvoort before, but it's going to be me crushing the pain in today. And Tom97, a superb time. Tim McMurdoch not too far away, really using that slipstream to good effect. But Elway Giri is going to be directly behind his championship rival at the start of this race here, John. This is going to be fascinating.
It is going to be fascinating. I just want to also stop at the fact that what an encouraging qualifying session for that guy Vince. Fastest of all in that last sector, and if it weren't for a tiny mistake in the second sector, that could have been pole position. Incredible stuff, and that will give back the confidence after a few shaky Grand Prix where he's had some of the pace, but the strategy or a few mistakes have crept into the driving style. Will be right back up there in fourth place. And he'll be happy with that. But most definitely for the championship, Tim McMurdoch wanting to have his last roll of the dice as the reigning champion, possibly today. And Tom97 just stamping his authority on this championship, still saying it's not over until mathematically it's over.
Yep, absolutely. Tom97 confirmed pole, Tim McMurdoch second, Elway third, that guy Vince in fourth, Razin Shai fifth, MSkyZ sixth, Meraki in seventh, eighth, Sasso getting knocked down a bit there, GB68 not fantastic from him, ninth position, and Fabio Emphatic just rounding out the top 10 there. So we aren't going to be too far away from this one. We do have a formation lap, I believe, on today for the first time in a while in the F1 Creator Series, and that's going to be interesting. We will see if that has been enabled. We could, John, I'll be honest, we could just jump straight in. We'll be prepared for all eventualities here in the Creator Series, but hopefully the formation lap will give us that time to see what tyres these drivers have picked and see what strategies we're thinking out here.
I'm going to roll the dice and say there is a formation lap and just say Meraki will probably be looking at an alternate strategy here, starting from P7, probably a little bit down on what he would have wanted in terms of qualifying pace. So there'll be quite a few drivers now thinking, well, this didn't work out like I planned, so I'm going to probably have to accept that I'm just going to have to keep it clean or keep away from the chaos. Hopefully a safety car will come out for my race strategy, for example. But for the lead people in the championship, it'll probably be a set of soft tires, drive into just the distance and off toward the sunset, and hopefully that'll be their race in a nutshell. But it looks like we will have a fight on our hands, that's for sure. Strategy, who knows? Will it be a 2-stop? Doubt it'll be a 1-stop. And
there we are.
It is a formation lap. Okay, we're good.
The anticipation in us. There we are. Look, formation laps are back in the Creator Series. It's good to see all 20 cars with the F1 liveries on, with the formation lap on. Tell me a place where you find that. Not many certainly go for that style at the moment, but Tom97, he's going to be taking it away. Mediums for the top 4. Razin Shai, he's got a bit aggressive here, softs, and I think it is going to be a lot of soft and medium here. I'll be surprised if we see a hard tyre on any kind of optimum strategy here. It's going to be, I've got a bit of damage lap 1, I've got to go on a hard, safety car comes out early. That's when we may see the hards come into play here. But Tom97, he's cracking on with this one. He's absolutely launched out of this one. Look at the gap back to Tim McMurdoch.
He's just stormed away, wanting to get some heat in those tyres, or just wanting to unsettle people, saying, this is what I'm going to do in the race. I'm just going to pull away, drive off into the distance, bye-bye. I will say, I will take back my comment on the strategy, because I didn't put into one of the factors being that track position is key here, because overtaking can be sometimes difficult if you don't have that straight line speed with the DRS. So, most definitely staying out a bit longer for the first stint of the race can actually be very, very good, because it means that you don't come out in traffic, or you come out in less traffic, so you can just get on with your race. But who knows? Turn 1 can be so unpredictable. It's a very short race down to turn 1, so a good race start is crucial, but not as crucial as some other tracks where the race is a very long sort of race down to turn 1. So I'm thinking of Mexico, as Tom 97's already lined up on the grid, ready to go. And there's a huge gap down to, I think, is that, no, that's not Meraki. I think that is Unstop Rob maybe lining up on the grid.
There's
now.
a big gap.
It's chaos.
It is absolutely chaotic. And what's also going to be chaotic is our vantage view into turn 1 here. We're just going to have to take it as it comes here in the Creator Series, as we have the final car, Adam Sanderson, the man who may have given himself a kiss of death, pulling into that final slot. And the creators are ready here. And it's going to be 5 lights on the board. A DRS disabled message, which is erroneous. But here we go. The creators go racing in Zandvoort. And there looks to be a bit of an early pull-off from Vazin Shai. He'll give those positions back because he has had host advantage. But Tom97 maintains that lead. Tim at Marduk, Elway Giri battling here. And Elway Giri up and into 3rd position. Meraki's up into 4th position. That guy Vince has fallen down here. Tom97 has maintained that position well at the start here.
Disastrous start for Razin. He gave up those positions. That's very gallant of him. But however, on those softer compound tyres, it's not gone well. We've got a driver off. I think it's Mr. Dale who has spun, it looks like, or gone into contact. I'm definitely thinking that's contact. Unfortunately for him. So that is our first casualty of the day. Tom97 still leads from Tiamat Marduk and Elray. Meraki up to P4 after that DSQ of the formation lap. That's actually a really good start, and he's up the inside of Elray there. Does not make it stick though, didn't get the traction out of the corner, but it was an opportunistic moment for him, that's for sure, as the top 4 are exactly where they left off. That guy Vince losing a position as well. So Alex Gillen as well, one of the people gaining positions there in P8, 4 positions up. And yours sincerely as well, up to P14. For Adam Sanderson, he's actually had a good start and is working his way up on his unconventional strategy. Are we going to see a move here? Elray goes a bit defensive, but just has the confidence to sort of say, no, this is my corner. I'm just going to block you out of it, and there's no way you can get past. That's confidence.
That is confidence. Dark Viper's been speeding in the pit lane, so maybe he's the person who's had damage with Dale early on. Alex Gillen battling with M Sky Z here, and he's gained a position as well. Meraki and Elway Giri also battling as they head towards Schlottermatter and down through Skyflak. And Meraki here just not getting that position. He's trying to use the best of this softer, slipperier tyre, and before they go off, these mediums ahead, they'll last for a little bit longer in comparison, so Meraki knows he's got to make hay while the sun shines, but it's already a DRS train that's enabled. 1 lap for it to be enabled now, and now he opens it up, and he knows he doesn't quite have that advantage that he had on Elway Giri the last time around. That's why he looked for the move down the inside on lap 1, and it's going to be Elway Giri, Tiamat Marduk, putting on the pressure on Tom97 here, and we're just going to have to settle into this one because I think there's going to be a lot of DRS trainage involved here, a lot of overtaking and a lot of moves there. And there we are, Tiamat Marduk straight away using it, Elway Giri following it through. Tom97 knows that's his rival and may give him a slightly harder time. Too wide as they come out of Tarzan. As they head towards Hugenholtz, it's still too wide. Elway Giri being shuffled out of this one around the outside. He still tries to hang it there. And now too wide still as they go through the S's. Who's got the better exit? It's maybe costing them a little bit of time, but they're putting on a great show. Elway Giri still up the inside, heading towards Skyflak. Is he going to hold it? Is he going to yield it? No, he still keeps himself in there. And finally, as they heading towards Masters, they know it's an absolute death wish. They're throwing it in there and not, with how it could go there. So that's a fantastic bit of racing between those two.
It might be a death wish, but I wanted to see it. I will say, that is just incredible driving. However, Elray has left himself vulnerable here to Meraki, who for once, I was just about to comment to Meraki not getting close on those soft compound tyres, but now he's got them into the operating window, and it looks like he's ready to attack. But definitely the top 2 of the championship standings at the moment, showing why they're at the top with that supreme driving and demonstration of just such respectful racing. As we get the DRS here, we're going to have a change of lead. Again, Tom97 taking that lead back, saying, that was mine, I'm going to take it back. And Elray just going up the inside saying, would you mind if I have a pass as well, free token? Tiamat Marduk saying, nope, that's not going to happen on my watch. So they are back to effectively as they started the race on lap 4. This is, honestly, it might be a DRS train, but it's entertaining seeing them jockeying for position and just trying to play the mental game here.
What I love about Elray Giri is that I think other people would see half a move and just be like, it's early days, let's not throw it away. Elray Giri, he will put his car in that position and make that other creator sweat, make them think about it, put it into the grey and race right up to that limit. And he creates such fantastic racing because of that. Elray Giri right behind Tiamat Marduk here. He's very, very close, has that DRS, but Tiamat Marduk has the DRS in the car ahead. And there is a little bit of sideways action in the back. Razin Shai and that guy Vince going into battle here. That guy Vince just not finding form on those tyres. A little bit of bumping between the two as they head through the final 2 corners. Razin Shai trying to follow Alex Gillen through. He has DRS open and he'll close down that gap a little bit. Elray Giri is going to maybe think about a move on Ben here because Ben isn't that close to Tom97, but closing and Tom97 being able to maintain that lead on that lap. So not every lap is going to have an overtake here.
Yeah, he was charging ERS there, still charging ERS, so probably lining up for an attack on this lap. As we see Meraki and Alex Gillen going for a little battle, and they're both locking up the brakes. So they're looking all racy at this point. Definitely for Elray, I think we have to rephrase a certain saying in Formula 1. If you no longer go for a gap that you don't create, you're no longer a racing driver for Elray. And he'll definitely create that gap as he goes a little bit wide onto the curb there. I thought Meraki was going to go for it there, but having to defend from Alex Gillen, it's always difficult when you're looking in your mirrors, trying to figure it out. As Alex is having to look in his mirrors as well. So everybody trying to defend and attack at the same time. It's not going to go well for one driver, but which one is it going to be, as everybody seems to be charging their ERS at this point. So are we going to see mass deployment of ERS on this straight? Let's see and find out.
Yeah, 4 attempts is the gap between Tom97 and Tiamat Marduk. All looking pretty on warnings in the top 10 at the moment. No warnings at the moment.
Has gone off.
Oh, GB68, he's
fallen
down the order.
Down.
Yes, right, okay.
Yeah,
I did see a
just
yellow flag.
into that last, sorry to interrupt, just into that last chicane of the lap before going into the right-handers. It seems like he had a collision with one of the Saubers, if I'm correct.
Yep, so that's not ideal for him on his return here. Of course, they've wrapped up the constructors. But here we are, M-Sky Z and Blackmere getting into it. The two big hot favourites from Japan last time out. And M-Sky Z winning out that battle here. Blackmere just falling down behind GB, behind Devil Noob as well. Devil Noob looking to get involved with this fight as they head towards Schlottermarker and Skyflak. Blackmere just does the sensible thing and knows it's early doors here. 72 laps of racing we'll have. We're only on lap 6. Let's not throw it away and let's just keep ourselves in the race here. That's going to be the game for a lot of people. Keep yourself on the lead lap. Keep yourself in the race, and there's every chance anything could happen. Adam Sanderson, our man who said he's going to do something miraculous in the race, he's up to 14th, so, you know, off the back of the grid, he's kept his nose clean so far.
Yes, for Adam Sanderson, he now needs to get past Matty D13 because they are dropping off a little bit of pace. There's quite a bit of a gap, as you can see on the track map there. So Adam Sanderson will want to get himself up the order as Tiamat Marduk goes for the lead. Elray tries to follow. Oh, contact between Tom and Tiamat Marduk. I don't think any damage happened there, but it's left the door open for Elray. He goes up the inside, a little contact as well. Argy-bargy going into there, trying to keep it around the outside. Tiamat Marduk just blocks him off a little bit, saying that is enough of that. Very, very aggressive driving. They have to. There's barely 3 car widths on this track, so you've just got to just throw the car in there. And he created the gap once again. He went for it, and it has paid off for the moment, barring any damage, because Tom97 is now behind him. Crucial for the championship, as we see Alex Gillen going for a move on Meraki in the background. He's going to have the outside line. Can he get it? He's going to have the better traction off the corner. And Meraki, I think, saving battery there. So left himself vulnerable to Razin now. Razin up the inside, being opportunistic. This is chaos now for the lead. We've got 5 cars battling at this point at the start. And who knows who is going to come out on top. Drivers compromising, and Alex Gillen has got past Tom97. Perhaps some damage now? That's very uncharacteristic for Tom to just leave the door open like that. Razin is on the attack as well.
Yeah, it's all getting really hectic here as they head towards Tarzan. 3 wide they'll go. Gillen, Vazenshai, Meraki, all champions in the Creator Series, and they are really up for a fight here. They could lose the DRS if they aren't too clever about this, but there we are. Top 97 involved in this battle as well. He's falling through the order. He's really having a tough time. Alex Gillen coming up chumps there, up to third, and Mr. Dale, first retirement in the pits, 31st retirement from the Creator Series, and not a day to forget for Mr. Dale yet again there.
Yes, when it rains it pours. Sadly, he will break that DNF sort of statistic at some point, let's call it. I think just getting tangled in the first lap there was kind of the worst possibility he had there. But some days it just doesn't work out for you. And I'm sure it won't be the last incident, seeing how the drivers are driving right now. We're going to have a few controversial moments in this Grand Prix, I am sure, as Thiem McMurdoch now has El Rey right on his gearbox. This is going to be probably quite an easy move, but will it be too early for El Rey? He's right behind. He's going out of the slipstream, and will Thiem McMurdoch have another opportunity to counter-attack as Alex Gillen goes to the inside? Is Alex going to go for the lead? He's got the inside here around turn 1. They're side by side again. He backs off, thinks better of it, probably for the best, seeing what happened 2 laps ago. And El Rey takes the lead then as the swapping of positions at the start, at the front of the pack, just continues to ebb and flow.
Yeah, we're expecting those soft tyres to remain good for about 20 laps here. So they should be in the fight for a while. The mediums can go a little bit longer than that. So Alex Gillen on no sauce. Every reason to believe that he'll go into the leaders race and be part of this fight. He won't drop away. Interesting, Tom 97 has just struggled over the last few laps. I wonder if he's just overheated his tyres, because Vazenshai looking for a move, just darting around, looking for a space, trying to get into his mirrors, very close behind his gearbox as they go through the corner. You don't want to take a little tag on someone because it could easily spin out. But L.A. Geary leading here as they go on to lap 10. Will Alex Gillen be straight away trying to go by? Opens up that DRS, and indeed, as they go on to lap 10, Alex Gillen gets ahead here and gets into the lead of the race. What was that about qualifying? Did it really matter? No, it doesn't. Alex Gillen knows how to fight to the front of the field here, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the experience for just countless races on countless Formula 1 games and other games as well. So he has the racecraft, he has the experience to know when to go for it, how to force drivers into a mistake or into an unfavourable position. I will say for Tom 97, he did have that little bit of contact with Thiem McMurdoch a few laps ago. Is it possible that he's picked up really slight front wing damage or some floor damage perhaps from that contact? It was with the wheel, I think, on the front wing, so it is possible. We'll have to wait and see. He's not dropped off the pace so far. He's currently sat 2/10 of a second off of Thiem McMurdoch, so he's right back in the slipstream, as you can see here, with Razin sort of coming back into the lead fight once again. It seems to me like the tyre performance is ebbing and flowing between the medium compound and the softer compound. So it could be that we're going to have battles right throughout the first stint here, as we see Tom 97 going for that attack up the inside. Once again, another textbook maneuver, and it looks like he's got it done even before going into turn 3 and 4 here. Just exemplary move, and Alex Gillen still, I think, has just lost the lead actually. So Alex Gillen attacking El Rey once again. This race has had so many overtakes, I can't count them already.
Get the overtakes, get the counter, throw it in the bin. We're not going to count them all. It's good that it's that way. It just creates some very chaotic moments, but it just means that realistically it's closer to cycling and the Tour de France and, you know, World's Tour cycling, really. You're just about trying to stay in that lead pack, trying to keep up together, keep that pace high and work together as a whole, and really just try and look for gaps, go for moments, rather than try and control the whole race, because it's just not going to be possible. You just have to look for the weakness in your competitors and go and pounce when it matters. Alex Gillen knows that this is a similar race to some of the other races we had this season. Certainly looking back at Belgium earlier this season, it will be the strategic calls later on in the race, the safety cars, that really changed this on its head as Alex Gillen yet again goes for the lead. Tom 97 darting out there, trying to put pressure on his championship rival, and that moment didn't arrive in that second there.
I'm going to say crucially as well, Infratic and that guy Vince have lost DRS to the front pack there, so we have a split in the pack, and that is going to be incredibly difficult for them to get back with all of these drivers in a DRS train. The only chance that they have is drivers battling with each other and sort of getting those gaps back out to 0.8 of a second and all of that, because we really want to remain inside the DRS zone. And I was going to comment on how Infratic and that guy Vince had an advantageous position, but with them losing, they're just on the cusp of DRS right now. But if they can keep in that sort of 1 second gap and not use their tyres battling with other drivers, they could actually be on a very good strategy for the moment, because they are on the medium tyres as well. So all of the soft runners in front of them burning ERS, burning tyres, burning confidence sometimes in overtakes that go slightly wrong. It could pay off in the long term. The drivers have to now start thinking on lap 12, what strategy are they going with? Do they try and change it up a little? How is their tyre wear compared to other drivers? And we might see some strategy coming into effect now as Alex Gillen still remains in the lead for the moment. So drivers may be calming down a little bit and thinking, we've been a little bit crazy in the first couple of laps here.
Yeah, those first round of pit stops, maybe about 7 or 8 laps away, we'd expect for those soft runners. So that's when things start to be a bit more chaotic. The fact that we won't see hard tyres, as I said, Dark Viper had an issue at the start. He felt like the hard tyre was worth the gamble, but he's quite far off the pace and the back of others because of it. So he's just waiting and biding his time for a safety car or something like that to bunch up the pack again. Now that's where the strategic calls could really be interesting. If those soft runners come in, and then between that and the medium runners need to come in, a safety car is called. That's a big advantage to those medium runners. But as soon as those medium runners are in, there we are. It swings back around to the pendulum for the soft runners. So it's really those two pockets of people. What strategies they choose, it's going to be really interesting to call. But, and I have said this before, I really don't think those hard tyres are going to be any kind of winning strategy here. I said this back in Belgium. Tom 97 pitted for hards, and he just dominated the race because of it, really. He chose a different strategy. As Saf, so there we are. He's the first person to peel off into the pits, and let's see what he's going to switch on to.
No, this is going to be interesting. I think I'm seeing yellow wall tyres, so medium tyres, I think, going on the car. It is indeed the mediums. So that is probably the anticipated strategy for this race, as we've got someone else in the pits as well. Blackmere in the pits, if I am correct. So two drivers choosing to go onto as well the medium tyres. So yes, for the moment, no outlandish strategies, although Adam Sanderson has not pitted yet. It's worth noting that he has been stuck behind Matty D13 since the start of the race, not managing to get an overtake done, and has now been passed by Skyzy as well. So yeah, that moving up the order has not worked, for the moment at least, to his plan.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's just Matty D13. I feel like each car is just maybe slightly slower than the other one, cascading downwards as Adam Sanderson and GB68 go for a little battle here. GB68 up the inside. This is a battle for 14th position, and he's trying anything. There we are. Adam Sanderson trying to running out of room, almost completely runs him off the circuit, and it's a bit of a naughty move there from Adam Sanderson. GB68 may not be happy with that one.
I think I'll quote a driver and saying all the time you have to leave the space. But indeed, up the inside now, the space is his, and he's crowding him out straight away, saying, well, you did it to me, I'm doing it to you. You're not getting any inkling into this corner. And GB68 making a move there, getting himself finally up the order after that mistake coming together, which was off camera for us. But yeah, definitely disappointing after the pace that he showed in qualifying. Could have been a lot better. And at this moment in this race, it's not looking like favourable for a victory, but who knows? Stuff can happen in the Crater Series, as everybody knows.
Yeah, we've seen more unlikely stories develop, certainly. Alex Gillen, 14 laps on those softs. He is still in the race lead here. Things are becoming a little more fractured behind. Emphatic has lost the trail of this lead group, the Tête de la Course, shall call them, as they round out Arie Luyendyk for the 15th time to go on to the 16th lap. We have seen some early pit stoppers, but I don't think anyone from this lead pack would be brave enough to go and pit that early at this moment. And those overtakes just seem to have quieted down. They still seem to be in a position where they're happy to let Alex Gillen lead here, harvest the battery and attack when the pit stops come. That's when it's going to be crucial. When you're outside of those DRS games, those times will have to come for these different drivers. And it's Alex Gillen on softs, Elway Geary and Tom 97, the championship rivals here. They're both on a pair of medium tyres, so they're going to be matching each other on strategy, certainly through the first stage, as Adam Sanderson has fallen down the order because he's come in for a pit stop and he has put on a pair of those hard tyres. So maybe he's the one doing something brave on a pair of hards to prove me wrong.
He did say he was going for an outlandish strategy. This is definitely outlandish. And this does open up a sort of pit window for the front runners. There is a gap of 10 seconds between Safto and GB68 now. So that is a pit window for the front runners. Will we see anybody take advantage of that? I will say for Alex Gillen, the maximum amount of time that he can stay in the lead on those softer compound tyres, the better for him, because it just means that he can slow the pace down a little bit and make sure that he's in an advantageous position to take advantage of an undercut, for example, and make sure that the medium compound runners don't drive off into the distance before the pit stops. So he'll be looking and praying that he can keep everything okay as Hoodie Pete gets past Yours Sincerely, a very late maneuver and almost out braking himself there. That was very, very courageous, but he went for it. It was clean and it was just on the limit. Like, we love seeing Yours Sincerely just thinking about it. You could see the hesitation there. Is this a good idea? And then all of a sudden deciding, no, I'm thinking twice about this. Let's put on the brakes and live to fight another day.
Yeah, battle for 10th position. It's not worth the usual 1 point. No, it's worth, I think, 6 points, I believe. But it's, yeah, every place matters. And these two are just trying to work together a little bit, but also trying to just create a little bit of room for themselves, create a little bit of a battle between each other for this 10th position, both on match strategies. And the two reserves here putting on a show, both Mercedes powertrains at the back of that Williams and of course the Mercedes. And Yours Sincerely did move there on the last lap, but didn't go for it this time. Hoodie Pete surrendered it fairly easily as Elway Geary takes the fastest lap and the lead of the race once again. But Yours Sincerely, he'll have a slingshot out of Arie Luijendijk, and this will be a fairly simple move for him. No late stuff like Hoodie Pete did. I wonder if Hoodie Pete will try to fight back. No, he's a sensible boy, that one. And he will, he'll just know that they're in a bit of a fight here, and they're in a stage of the race waiting for maybe safety car or their next pit stop to come. And they've got to work together on people who have pitted around them to maintain that position, because Hoodie Pete's running in a very good position. So is Jaden, and it's good stuff to see from these two reserves.
Indeed, it's always great to see people having a chance to demonstrate their pace and their racecraft, and you always love to see it. And I'm sure they're having a whale of a time on the circuit right now as Elway, I was going to say, he had an opportunity to get away from Alex Gillen here and sort of cement his place at the top, with Alex acting as a buffer zone to the medium compound runners here, but he has not managed to get away. And prediction is that Alex Gillen is probably going to try and get that lead back again for the advantageous position. He wants to have that command of the race to dictate the strategy a little bit, as here we go for the overtake. Elway's not even going to try and defend it. He knows it's a done deal. The overtake is done before the corner. Tim Marduk just going on the defensive a little bit from Razin. And Razin, yeah, looking very racy still on those tyres like Alex Gillen. So, yeah, the degradation that we expected to happen for the soft compound runners really hasn't come into effect at the moment.
No, still looking good around the lap 20 mark. They will, of course, start to puncture at some point, so they don't want to go too long on them, of course. But Elway Geary right behind Alex Gillen. Razin Shai racing well in 5th position. He had a bit of a torrid time in Japan, let's face it, knocked out in a bad position in qualifying. He had damage in the sprint and, of course, a DNF going underneath the track. Coming out of Degner 2 last week, so really a weekend to forget. He gave us a brilliant safety car, to be honest, that completely changed the complexion of the race and made that race a lot better because of it, so thanks for that. But yeah, it wasn't a great race for himself, but look, he's right involved with this battle, and I don't think he's had a podium all season, has the Season 5 champion, so he's certainly looking to get his first podium and keep up that streak. But there we are, Elway Geary going around.
Oh, no.
No, oh, it's still free wide. This is a bit wild. I thought Gillen was going to pit there. He went so aggressive to the right, but Tom97 and LA Geary come into each other, and that must be contact, and that's damage. That's a wild moment there from Tom97.
Yeah, I think that was just maybe desperation a little bit, wanting to factor in this race, and that is going to be ever so devastating as Tiamat Marduk are straight up the inside there, trying to take advantage of that situation. That is not great, the damage being on the right side as well, so a lot of the corners, left side damage, so a lot of the corners are going to be very, very difficult to get through. And look at that understeer all the way off the on the curb into the grass area, and exploring the track a little bit, and that is devastating for the championship, devastating for morale, and you have to question, was that really the move he had to go for? Braking ever so late. It was on, the move was on, but he just had to get it stopped, and just a tiny mistake, a tiny lockup, and that is the fine margins that you play with in Formula 1.
Yeah, El Rey's not going to leave you any more room than you need, and Tom97 knows that. He's had that collision. He's going to have to hope for a complete change in strategy here in this race. Is he going to come into the pits? I suspect he'll have to. He does peel into the pits here, slows it down, and he gives himself a 10-second time penalty to boot. He is having a complete mare. He has lost his head. He needs to recalibrate here. Sticking on a hard pair of tyres here. He needs to really think about this one. He'll need to pit again to clear that 10-second time penalty that he's just received. And this is bad. This is very, very bad. El Rey Geary is in the pound seat for this championship here. And I wouldn't say that so early, but Tom97 is well down the order here.
The wing hasn't been repaired. He's still got the damage on the wing. So he didn't manage to get the settings selected. So I think, unless there's a visual glitch here, maybe, that he still has the damage. He's getting out of the way. No, this is disaster upon disaster. I was going to say he needed to put El Rey under pressure, supreme pressure, to get him to make a mistake worthy of getting at least out of the major point scoring positions. But yeah, just the timing of that incident, sort of the losing the head for 20-30 seconds, not selecting to repair that wing damage, has really cost him here, and that is very, very, very unfortunate. And to add to boot that 10-second penalty, that's adding insult to injury at this point.
Slowing down as well. He knows
retiring.
He knows he's had a big problem here. He's gonna have to select and get that wing replaced. Is he gonna throw in the towel? Because it's disastrous really here. Of course, safety cars can come out, but if you are lapped by the leaders, it's incredibly hard to get unlapped. There we are. He doesn't give himself a 10-second penalty here, but he will be serving this penalty here. So that's going to take a while. Then he's going to have that front wing change. Could he get lapped here? I mean, we do have the leaders going through Skyflak at the moment and through turns 9, 10. So through that middle sector, there we are. The car's getting serviced soon. Here we are. A fresh pair of tyres onto a pair of softs. So that hard strategy that he was hoping would come into favour for him hasn't happened. But there we are. He does peel away. And now he's got to do everything within his power to stay on that lead lap, because he's currently going to be trundling around second to last. Only his teammate and a DNF car behind him. And Tom97's day, it needs a big swing of the pendulum of luck for it to come back to him here. Because El Rey Geary, he's in first, 6 tenths on Alex Gillen. And Alex Gillen on those soft tyres are starting to crumble away. El Rey Geary may just sense that this is his chance to pounce and make a better day even better.
This is what I expected him to do about 6 laps ago. Just take the lead of the race and pull away, using the better degradation of the tyres to his advantage. We'll see if he can do it here. Still 5 tenths of a second. The gap as Razin goes fast on those new tyres. So Razin wanting to say, I've got the undercut here and I am going to try and get ahead of everybody and pull away into the distance. And it's a great strategy, unless you get stuck behind traffic. Now, the problem that he's going to have now is he's coming up behind Shafto and other drivers like Unstopped Rob, who are, I think, still on their starting compound tyres. Indeed, they are. No, Unstopped Rob has just pitted, I think. So Unstopped Rob has actually got the jump on Razin somehow. But indeed, he'll be looking to get himself, both of them now, up the order, and trying to just maybe even use the DRS train between themselves to sort of make sure that the lead pack at the moment, when they pit, don't have an eye in on the race lead.
Did you see that from Alex Gunnar? A little bit of a lift there as he was going to go up the inside of Elray Gary. He didn't want to get into a session. That didn't matter. Get out of the session, whoever you are. You're not allowed in here. But Alex Gillen in second position here. He was going to go for that move, but he just backed off of it. Maybe just knowing that he's got to conserve that battery, save that battery. But there's been a spinner. It's not Tom 97, is it? No, I think it's JD Devil Noob. It was certainly one of the RBs that was going slow. And he's going to peel out the way out of Tarzan. He's at the moment and just peeling out the way of the Ferrari of Razin Shai there, I believe. Yeah, I thought for a second Tom 97 days it got worse. But you know what? Bad news comes in threes. He had the brake wing. He had the pit stop where he didn't actually change his tyres. He also had that where he didn't change his wing, sorry. And he also had the of course the penalty. So that's the bad news out of the way for him in this race. I'm sure he can come back in this one. And there we are, fastest lap. He's showing that he's still hungry, even if he is far down the fight. And if he can come back in this one, it will be a dramatic Creator Series story. And that's what we want to have here.
There's a long way to go. We're a third of the race through now, so many twists and turns to happen, I am sure. As Alex Ginnan, I think, lifting again. So a really interesting strategy here, as Elray has not managed to pull away and looks to be saving a little bit of battery as well. So maybe Elray just expending the entirety of his battery to stay in the lead, and is Alex going to choose his opportunity to pounce? Maybe not even on the main straight, to get into the lead and be the first into the pits, so that he can dictate the strategy. We've got a huge amount of racing happening at the moment lower down the field. Razin has now caught up to Safso here, so he will be able to, well, hopefully get the overtake done very, very soon. As Safso looks like he even got out of the way there. That was an interesting one. Yes, he has got out of the way.
Different battles, I guess. Different battles, but they are on different age of medium tyres. Maybe Safso knows, look, Razin's going to be faster here. If I can take that DRS, that's going to be better for me. Stay with him. Let him bring me better back into this fight. Maybe they're just coordinating, working together, those two. Both champions in the Creator Series. Both know how to bring their race fortunes around here. So maybe a little bit of strategy between the two. Remains to be seen. I was actually thrown off because Matty D was pitted. And I was like, has someone come off here? But here we are. Elray Giri. I think he's coming to the pits here. There we are. He is the first to ditch those mediums out of that front running four, and he's going on to a pair of softs here, so it's going to be fascinating to see where he comes out in line and compared to some of the other drivers. GB68 I believe is going to go through in front of him. Of course, he's on a bit of an alternate strategy here, but it was Razin Shai who was part of that pack and part of that battle, and it looks like Razin Shai going through the traffic hasn't been able to close that gap down. In fact, the overcut has been dramatically better for Elray Giri here, and it's 2.9 seconds the gap between Razin Shai and Elray Giri, so that's looking good and favourable for that front running pack.
It is indeed, yeah. It hasn't really worked out as we expected, although Unstop Rob is ahead. So technically Unstop Rob leading the race in terms of those who have pitted. So the undercut has worked for him. The pace of that Mercedes seemed to be very, very good today. But for Alex Gillen and Tim McMurdoch, you could see from the gaps they were draining their battery as soon as Elray pitted. So this will be interesting. Who comes into the pit? Will everybody pit at the same time? They all stay out, would you believe? And Tim McMurdoch goes for the lead off camera. I can see it on the mini-map as he takes the lead there. And indeed, we've got another battle. Skyzy and I think GB68 here battling as well. GB68 just going breezing past Skyzy with that penalty, maybe thinking it's not worth fighting. I'll probably be into the pits in a minute, so not worth fighting that one too hard. As GB68 showing very, very good pace. It's just such a shame for that first incident. But as we said, a safety car can come out and the race can be turned on its head in an instant.
Yeah, what GB68 needs to do really is slow down Unstop Rob as much as possible. I wonder if Razin Shai's had an issue there on his outlap as Elray Giri charges through M-Sky-Z. He knows they're in a different fight. His teammate here, GB68, look at that, very courteous, letting him through, letting M-Sky-Z through, and actually making a right hash brown of it out there as he gets all over the rough stuff. And that's really consequential for him because it's actually 1.6 seconds away from M-Sky-Z, who he's been DRS dovetailing with for a number of laps, and being too courteous to his teammate there in a bit of a strange position. Skyflak has hampered him, but he knows that, you know, the championship of the constructors, that's wrapped up. He may not feel like he's in the hunt for a race win here. And at all costs, he does not want to hinder his teammate Elray Giri as he looks to secure the Drivers' Championship today.
Yeah, if there's one track where you cannot cruise to the line, it's this one. It's such a committed track, so many corners. One thing that he does have up his sleeve, though, is Razin just overtaking him here, so he'll be able to hopefully use the DRS and the slipstream, remain in the drag of the car in front, and hopefully bring himself back up to Skyzy, although it's looking like Razin is just creating a huge gap already now, the gap up to 0.6 of a second. So it's possible that GB68 used his battery as well as around the outside goes Safto as well on those fresher tyres. So it's not gone well, let's put it that way.
Yep, as there is a slow car through the first sector. Could be Adam Sanderson recovering from something there, but Tiamat Marduk still leading this one from his old co-op career partner Alex Gillen. Meraki just behind, all race winners in the Creator Series, all big point scorers in the Creator Series, and they stay out. They are looking to do something very different to Elray here. They want to offset as much as possible and, you know, play the safety car game, hope something comes towards them, and they're all sticking to their guns here. Elray Giri has gone a little bit early, but he's probably got one eye on that championship fight with Tom 97, of course, way down the order after his collision with the Spaniard here. And Elray Giri just making that move on stop, Rob. So after pit stops, he's now the lead car net on the road here, currently in 6th position, right behind that guy Vince. And he just has the bit between his teeth, doesn't he? Every car he comes across, it doesn't matter if it's into the most opportune corner or the least opportune corner. He's going to put his car in a position where the other driver needs to think, yeah, I'm not going to fight this one. You go through. And Elray Giri up to 5th position on the road here and trying to make best of those soft tyres. Now on stop, Rob, he would have hoped to be able to follow Elray Giri as JD Devanube retires in the pits. So nothing to shout about there. He is unfortunately DNF to second DNF from today's race. But an interesting period and phase of the race that we're going through here as Elray Giri looks to get onto the back of Emphatic next, which is just behind. And then it's 10 seconds for that leading trio.
What a great way to come across Infratic here, because he'll have DRS, will Elray, and that will gain him another 0.4 of a second compared to the lead pack. So everything in his favour at the moment as he goes up the inside, easy as he does it. And that's another couple of tenths of second gains with that DRS. So everything, the cards just stacked in his favour at the moment. I will say that's because Tom 97 has offered him this opportunity of being able to take those risks. If Tom 97 was in that lead pack, Elray would be having to think about those maneuvers, think about those overtakes a bit more. Because at this point, if Elray gets damage, the championship is still his.
Yep, absolutely. He's yeah, it's interesting. He's just made Tom 97's just made a move on Dark Viper GT way down the order, out of the championship points as things stand. He didn't get the intermediate point, that went to Meraki, so he hasn't gained anything so far today. So it's basically the gap as is as we came into it. Elray Giri, he is just needing to really beat Tom 97. If he does that, then definitely he's done it. Tiamat Marduk's coming to the pit meanwhile, and has he slowed it down enough? He has, and it is 3rd position that he's falling into. He's seen Elray Giri approach and he's decided, yeah, I better not just get caught by that, as Elray Giri's going super quick out there, making the best of those soft tyres, but mediums for Tiamat Marduk. So that indicates to me that he wants a quick dash on the softs at the end here, and he wants to be on the best tyre at the end.
Elray has used that undercut to supreme effect, and he is so far ahead of Tiamat Marduk here. With cars that Tiamat Marduk has to overtake as well, so that adds another bit of difficulty. I think Elray had sensed the opportunity and went for it. One thing that I did not expect to happen, really, is that the soft compound runners stay out longer than the medium compound runners. Now, that's not one that I had on my bingo cards, and it must be said, they must be getting close to the danger zone in terms of tyre wear, because I don't think anybody plans for those tyres to go 30 laps.
Yeah, until puncture, I think about 31 laps till you're risking a puncture. So I'd be very surprised if we don't see Alex Gillen and Meraki peel into pits here. I am surprised. Meraki has peeled in. Alex Gillen, he's going to go that 1 lap later. He's going to be in the danger zone this lap. And every lap he does, He's trying to take this off so far. And while he is losing time to the likes of Elray Giri, he's only 8.5 seconds behind him. He does have maybe the option of one less pit stop through the race. So it's very interesting to see what happens here. Tim Marduk, meanwhile, has got back out in front of Meraki. Meraki's still coming out the pits. He's a little bit away from him. He's going to have to hope that Tim Marduk gets caught up in the cars in front. And he has been caught up by Razin Shai and Safso, but those two, they've really got to work together to come through in this pack here, because they need every little help here, and a DRS train would help them, but look at that, 2.5 seconds the gap between the two. That's the time that Meraki really lost through that phase. That undercut, massive there for Tiamat Marduk, but he now needs to use the best of those tyres to catch up with Elray Giri, and a lot of different strategies on play here. It really has diverged nicely, hasn't it, this one, John?
Indeed, yes, it will converge toward the end of the race. Obviously, I think the most interesting one is Alex Gillen trying to maybe go for the one stop there, as you said. But what a lock up there from Razin. Wow, how did he get that stopped into that turn? That was almost on the handbrake job right there. But in terms of strategy, Elray has sort of blown this one out of the park at the moment, because he's only 6.4 seconds behind Alex Gillen, who is yet to pit. Which really doesn't favour Alex Gillen's strategy, unless Alex is staying out for that safety car that's elusive at the moment. Tiamat Marduk is the best part of 9 seconds behind Elray, with drivers in between them. So the strategy and the pace that Tiamat Marduk has to overcome right now is quite a mountain. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, as Alex is going for another lap. I just noticed he's on lap 32 now on those tires. Yeah, he's either cooked or is cooking, one or the other, and I can't work out which one.
Could be both at the same time. I hear a kind of Jack-in-the-Box music going off, and I'm ready for Jack to spring his trap here in the terms of these punctures going off for Alex Gillen. He's still just feeding it lap after lap. Maybe he has the data that other drivers don't, but he's losing a lot of time. 2 seconds he lost on the last lap. Is that going to be enough to make him think to pit? He goes towards the pit lane. He toys with you. He plays with your emotions, and he thinks, no, I'm going to go another lap. Let's risk it for a biscuit.
Tire wear doesn't exist if you don't if you don't consent to it. So, you know, yeah, he's just staying out and just praying that everything goes his way. The pace is still okay. It's not as if he's losing like 3 seconds. Wow, okay, that's Razin. I think going for an overtake on Infratic. Infratic, I think, defended that one, and he's lost out to Tiamat Marduk in the process. That was we arrived to the end of that overtake there, but somehow Tiamat Marduk has just gone all the way around the outside, and bye-bye.
Yep, Tiamat Marduk now will close in for Infratic. Now, Infratic maybe could do a bit of a favour for his teammate here, because they are on similar strategies, Tiamat Marduk and Razin Shai, but Razin Shai on slightly older tyres. He'll hope that Infratic clears out the way the same time Tiamat Marduk gets through, but Tiamat Marduk looking to go through anywhere he can. Through turns 10, he goes at the moment, this hairpin that leads onto a DRS straight, a short straight. Tiamat Marduk's going to look to make that move. Razin Shai, he wants to pick a lane. Which way does he go? And he does just get caught out. Tiamat Marduk goes super deep on the brakes, just about gathers it up on the apex of that and exit of the corner. And now Razin Shai will hope the DRS on Infratic will open up and he will be able to go through. Hopefully they will work together. But look at this Infratic thinking, no, you're not taking that position off me too easily. And you know what, Razin Shai, you come along too if you can. But look at that, Tiamat Marduk throws it up there again. 2 by 2 they go. Tiamat Marduk, without the DRS, still wants to battle. He knows he's got to crack on with this one. He needs to maintain that position. And Tiamat Marduk being decisive there in retaking that position. And now he can march towards Unstop Rob.
That one had me genuinely laughing there, because you could see down the straight, both of them were draining the battery and sort of lifting off the button a little bit, and then seeing the other guy was deploying the battery still, so back on the battery, and it just like a fast and furious drag race there along the straight. So that was very, very amusing to watch from a spectator's perspective. Tiamat Marduk has got the job done for the moment, but Infratic making it as difficult as possible. As he loses a place actually to Meraki as well, so that's not gone well. I think the tires just dropping off there. He's on much older tires, 34 lap old tires. So yeah, I mean the defense is valiant, but at the end of the day, you're not going to win that battle as Alex Gillen goes for another lap.
They're red striped. They're probably red on his heads-up display. They're red in every single way, these tyres. He is in a very precarious position. Or he's not, and we're just flagrantly wrong in the commentary box. It's happened before in this race, so who knows? Alex Gillen may be coming up trumps here, but look at that. Look at where Elway Geary is. He's caught up a whole pit stop in the time that Alex Gillen has bled out those tyres, and maybe the strategy in Alex's head is, look, wait until Elway Geary passes, maybe slow him down a little bit, but then pit for tyres. Really offset myself as much as that. Because, you know, he's gone to effectively half race distance here on a pair of softs. There's no reason he can't do that on a pair of mediums.
Sure, it doesn't make sense to me. I'll be honest. I'll be blatantly obvious. I can't find a way to make this strategy work, to be honest, for Alex. Because even if he pits now, Elray... this is reminding me of Belgium, by the way, where Elray was on a different strategy, and I was just question marks all along the race, as Alex Gillen does decide to pit, so you were correct. But I just don't see that working out for him, because Elray can cover him and a 10-second penalty, and now it definitely hasn't worked out for him, that's for sure. I was going to say also, so who in the Haas garage has taken a hard set of compound tyres and painted them red as he goes onto the medium compound tyres? So a good strategy, it must be said. Just Elray's pace, obviously, is so much faster. And Infratic getting a 10-second penalty as well into the pits.
He
well.
again went long on that pair of tyres and struggled to slow them down into the pit zone. So maybe just not getting the same brake performance as they'd expected, as they tested prior to the race. Or maybe just making a genuine error. But Alex Gillen, he had an uphill mountain to climb with this strategy that he was doing. He now is really going to hope to throw away that strategy, and a safety car can come and clear his name, because 10 seconds at the end is a gigantic amount of time to lose. And of course, these penalties, we don't remove them. We try to do as little as possible in the terms of stewarding in the Creator Series. Some fans, it drives people mad. Others see the logic of it. But realistically, we want to commentate the races as they are, have those moments on track, and settle them on track. And Alex Gillen, he can't remove that penalty. It's a slam dunk anyway, it's speeding in the pit lane, but Elway Geary now just has this complete red carpet effect here at Zandvoort. He can just go and stretch his legs, maintain that gap. 12 laps on a pair of softs. He did about 20 or so, a little bit more than that on the previous set. So, sorry, 25 laps on a pair of mediums. He can just take this as far as he wants, and at the moment he's winning the championship with where Tom 97 is. Tom 97 needs to finish ahead before we even start going into the permutations of his championship. So Elway Geary in a very, very strong position, but the battle just behind, Tiamat Marduk taking along some of the stragglers. You know, his very bunch of men is joining him for the battle as he looks to close down on Elway Geary, but I don't think he's actually closed down that gap significantly over the last few laps.
That was always the danger of offsetting the strategy, is if one driver is genuinely faster in race pace than the others and they get an offset strategy, they can just drive away into the distance. And what will also come into effect is if they start battling as well, then they will just slow each other down and Elray can just drive off again into the distance. It's always that kind of race around here. It's a strategic race. You've got difficulty of overtaking, difficulty of following the cars sometimes through the second sector, and you have to drain the battery to get those overtakes done. And it does look like quite a few of our drivers flashing with the battery as well, so very, very low on battery, trying to break the DRS, and it has not worked for Tiamat Marduk. Meraki is right behind him with Razin behind as well, and Alex closing in at a vast rate of knots as well. So this is just going to compound the issue of the fact that they need to close up the gap, but they all want to be the first of the train closing up that gap. So they need to maybe go into the Discord, have a little bit of a discussion and say, okay, I'll lead for 2 laps, you lead for the next 2 laps. Yeah,
certainly. They just need to coordinate a bit, and I think they will be doing that in the Discord chat. Those Discord chats far too sweaty for my liking. But Tom 97, he's going to be looking to carve his way through the pack and get any help he can from any quarters. He's on 17-lap old softs here. GB68 is on 9-lap old hard. So interesting to see what the pace difference for that one. But Tom 97 on a recovery drive. And significantly, the people who've had DNFs in this race, they've chosen to do it in the pit lane. And, you know, that means that they haven't had any safety car moments. We've seen a few slow cars out there on track, but it's often, you know, we want lots of cars close together, lots of chaos. I like those opening moments of this race, to see those mistakes come in and to see maybe potential safety cars happen. So Tom 97 really needs to have something kind of pulled out of thin air, like we saw with Razin Shai last week with his crash, just on the curb, mistake into the wall. That brought out the safety car. He needs another moment like that to have his championship go down to the final race.
Well, if it's to anybody's surprise, we are coming into that last third of the race in a minute, where indeed people will start going for those moves, either out of desperation or just trying to get their strategy to work. And that's when you can have those collisions take place, which do end in, sadly, race-ending incidents. So there is still a chance of a safety car. Nothing is guaranteed here. Although El Rey has all of the cards in his hand at the moment, we've seen so many times in the past how it can change in the blink of an eye. And so you always, as a driver, need to keep some sort of thinking going on in your head of what happens, or what am I going to do if that safety car comes out now? Do I pit? Do I not pit? And for El Rey actually being out in the lead, it'll be quite easy for him to start thinking about that. It might actually give him something to do while he trundles around these laps for the moment. He's actually increasing the gap to Unstop Rob as well. So for the moment, everything is going A-okay as Safto and Razin having a good old battle there. Safto on the 27-lap-old tyres, getting, I think, back past Razin. So Razin not having the pace that he wanted on the medium tyres compared to his solid pace on the softer compound.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a slow car through the first sector. I think that may have been just a small moment that's been corrected. So
I think that's 197 getting past GB68 or the other way around.
Yeah.
Battle going on between them.
Yeah, so interesting, because I don't actually think either of them had a moment. So maybe just an erroneous yellow flag flowed up for a second there, but Tom 97 just languishing at the back here. It's not how he'd want his championship to end, if it is indeed the case that his championship will end here. Emphatic has a bit of impetus here, though. He's on the hard tyre, just caught up to Matty D. Matty D on the back of yours sincerely here, through this middle sector DRS zone, hitting the split, and they will of course have another burst of DRS down through the banking of Ari Lindijk, the final corner. Emphatic on the back of it here. What can he do? I think there's been a spin. It may have been an Alpine of Blackmare. He's had a bit of a moment. Has he had front wing damage? Yeah, a little bit of front wing loss for him, but he's running right at the back now. Emphatic battling with Jaden and Matty D13. I think Jaden's pulled into the pits, and Emphatic past Matty D13 here, so he has those tyres. He also has a 10-second penalty, so he'll have to maybe hope a safety car comes again, because he's got to offset that penalty. Same as Alex Gillen. Alex Gillen is doing, quite well out there, to be honest. He is closing down on the cars ahead, and he is just going to look to go past Razin Shai, who will then be 4 seconds away from that Tia Maraki group for third position. So he's doing well here. He's showing what that strategy could have provided if he didn't, maybe make his mistake into the pits. As Razin makes a big mistake on the curbing there, going into Ari Lindijk. That gives a position away quite easily. DOS as well for Alex Gillen. Pull it away. That's not what Razin wants.
That was so close to a huge incident there for Razin. Getting on the curb there with the wall on the outside. Just correcting it to perfection, though, managing to save the car, keep it under control to the best of his ability, and if nothing else, he can take consolation in that he does have the talents to catch the car like that. I know I certainly don't. So you can just demonstrate like that the ability of this field at the moment. The drivers not all performing at their best today, obviously, but the talent is there. The pace level's very, very high in the Creator Series. I just want to go back on pace a minute to say that Tom 97, before he started battling with GB68, was lapping faster than El Rey, so that's going to be incredibly disappointing. So we've got a slow car there. Who was that?
I don't think there's a slow car. I think that one of the Oh, actually, it may be Blackmare actually getting out of the way. Yeah, it was.
It was
okay.
Blackmare. Yes, indeed. that had me panicking for a minute, thinking, hang on a minute, who's that? Is it one of our championship contenders? But indeed, Blackmare probably just wanting to stay out of all of the battles right now. It's when the race has gone bad for you, you have to sort of just admit that that's happened, and you don't want to take anybody out of the race, to be fair. So, yeah, very gallant of him.
Okay, so here's where the energy is going to come from for this race. El Giri, he has to go... Well, he could go on to another pair of softs at the end here, but Meraki and Team Marduk, they have to go on to soft tire. At the moment, they've done... it was in Tim Marduk who's done a double medium stint, so he hasn't had those soft tires yet. We've not seen his fastest pace out there. They're maintaining the gap quite similar with El Giri. So 13 seconds. When they come in for the pit stops, maybe they'll undercut, maybe they'll try and offset a little bit. There could be a pace differential there. That could close down the gap. That could give us the grandstand finish that we want to see and that fight reignite. They're just catching up the back of Unstopped Rob here. They'll use him for DRS. They'll try and spit him out and go forward. If that doesn't work, then I think that's what may trigger these final round of pit stops. We're about 30 laps, just under 30 laps away from the end here. And Meraki and Team Atwell haven't caught up massively. Alex Gillen, he could still maybe go for a pit stop. Would the others serve that 10-second pullback through? It's unlikely that will happen. He's certainly out there for a safety car at the moment. So this isn't a race done here. El Giri does have a commanding lead. He's showing why he won at Zandvoort as Black May retires in the pits and doesn't cause a safety car. He couldn't have given us a safety car. We would have loved a safety car. But El Giri, showing why he's got that pace and why he has that championship winning potential here today and why he won here back in Season 3, why he loves the circuit. He's got the pace, but it's not over by a long shot here.
Yes, indeed, as Tom97 talking about the championship battle, goes straight past GB68 there into turn 1 off camera, just sort of on the track map. So yeah, definitely Tom97 not giving up is the point I was trying to make. And until you get to that final lap and there's been no safety car, you can effectively keep all hopes up at the moment. As I think we're about to see Meraki get past Unstopped Rob. I don't think Unstopped Rob's going to fight this. He's on much older tyres. And Meraki goes past Team Marduk, not looking to battle at the moment. I think they're just looking to use those tyres to the best of their effect to catch up to El Rey, although the gap standing at 13 seconds. That's an incredible gap at the moment.
It is coming down, but we're talking hairs. We're not talking yards. We're talking little bits here and there. It is coming down, but you'd expect it to maybe come down a little bit more, saying El Giri's really at good usable lifespan of those soft tyres, but he's, we could take him 35 laps. We've seen Alex Gillen do it already today, so that wasn't an issue for him. Tim Marduk right behind Meraki. They are on this pair of mediums. I think Tim Marduk's really the wild card for me. We haven't seen his soft tyre pace yet, and I suspect if there's another set of softs that El Giri can use, he'll be going on to those softs. So a medium soft run is very, very likely for him, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. The pit stop will happen here soon, but it is just under 13 seconds, just over 13 seconds here or there. It's not massive. It's really crucial here that Tim Marduk and Meraki work well together, and Unstopped Rob sees that if he gets involved with that fight, he's only going to slow his own chances down. So I think these two just dovetailing happily with each other and just looking to try and chip away at any advantage that they can.
The gap cutting down by, I think, 1/10 of a second in that lap. So, yes, the gap is coming down, but I think we'll need about 100 laps for it to come down to DRS level. By my calculations, I am very bad at maths, but I don't think we have enough laps remaining at the current strategy.
We'll put 100 laps on. Don't worry, we can do that. We'll meddle with the files.
I think we might have a protest from the drivers if we do that. I'm slightly unsure about that one.
Suddenly the Zandvoort 500.
No, don't give them good ideas. That sounds like a great idea. But indeed, in terms of the strategy, the soft compound tyres have been the tyre to be on in this race. Looking at El Rey's pace, but also at Alex Gillen's opening stint, it has been the fastest tyre, and the tyre that hasn't really seen much degradation, to be fair. Tom97 having a great stint as well on the soft compound tyre, it must be said, just stuck in traffic effectively. But yeah, he's really just holding GB68 on the hard compound tyres behind him. GB68 can't really get away from him, can't do anything about it. And I'd expect anybody that can go onto the soft compound tyres to go onto the soft compound.
Yep, that guy thinks he's had a bit of a quiet race, hasn't he? He was in the top 4, and he's just concentrating there. He's just looking to pick up anything he can do. He's never really seemed to have the pace of those top runners. Seemed to be more tuned for qualifying pace compared to the people he started around. Certainly fell down early on those pairs of mediums. Now he's just in a bit of a gap by himself at the moment. It's hard to keep the motivation up in these scenarios. When you are, maybe a bit adrift on both battles, what's your headspace as a driver to try and keep yourself motivated?
Well, one thing that can help is having an interesting track to drive. This track is very, very nice to drive in, like a qualifying lap or time trial. Although I'm sure we'll have some comments saying, what are you talking about? It's frustrating with the curbs and all of that and the grass. But really, there are more boring tracks to drive as a driver. You've got a lot of braking zones, a lot of turns that you have to concentrate about. So that helps your motivation. You can see him just fully concentrating on the driving there. In terms of just trying to keep the motivation as we have El Rey into the pits then. So now he has pulled the lever on the last roll of the dice there into the pits and out just behind the chasing pack there. That will be ominous as Alex Gillen will see the gap of 3.4 seconds and go, that's not gone well for me in effect. And that's going to be the last nail in the coffin, I think, for the leader's confidence, because Meraki will be able to see El Rey's time on his heads-up display, so he'll know that effectively El Rey has called their bluff on this strategy.
Yeah, it's a very bad situation to be in, certainly. Alex Gillen, of course, with that 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane to boot El Rey Giri. He looks to be on the right strategy, certainly here. Only 3.5 seconds behind a train that contains his rivals for this race win. Tom 97 lapping well in the background. He's worked his way back up to 9th position. He's also playing a bit of a game of chicken with his tyres, with that puncture territory, as we understand. And there we are, Meraki, I think, just losing that position to Team McMardock. They'll try and work together. And importantly, and this is really, the big nail in the coffin, El Rey Giri's gone onto a second pair of softs here. So unless there's a safety car at the end here, I think El Rey Giri may be able to not just clinch the title, but clinch it in style with a race win.
Yes, it's certainly looking that way. Although, can the lead pack do anything with the DRS to sort of keep him behind and frustrate El Rey into maybe making a mistake? It must be said that El Rey can just sit tight in 5th place and win the championship as well. I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll want the race win. He'll want to go out in style, as you said, but anything is possible at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, anything is possible. Anything could happen. It was about this time, last time out, when a certain Razin Shai just peeled into the wall quite nicely for us. And, I'm not saying it has to be Razin's turn this time. I'm quite happy for anyone to get involved. Fabio, you want to peel into the wall? Go for it. GB, I know he's your teammate, but give us some spice. We desperately need it. But there we are. Team McMardock, Meraki, Alex Gillen, Unstop Rob. 2.5 seconds to them as Alex Gillen goes for a big lunge. That was a bit unorthodox, and of course on his old co-op career mode rival. They've had plenty of skirmishes in the Creator Series too. And there we are, Team McMardock giving him the chop, letting him know how he feels about that move. Alex Gillen looking at El Rey Giri coming back through, looking at the Armada sailing in, and thinking, right, we better get a move on here. I do not want to be stuck behind these two any longer.
Yeah, Alex Gillen went for the move on Unstop Rob on the last lap there, just before the main straight, and it was a dive bomb move as well. I saw that one on the cards there for turn 1. Team McMardock defending, though, saying, no, I have my strategy, I'm going to stick to it, and if you want to pass me, you're going to have to make a proper overtake attempt and not just chuck it up the inside. But for Alex, I mean, he's really just racing for the fun of it now. He's got a 10-second penalty, so if he does pull into the pits, he's going to be out of this pack for the moment. Although, every single camera angle, you can see El Rey. So that is ominous. Very, very ominous. And I think we see Meraki in the pits, is that?
I think it's Unstop Rob who's coming to the pits.
Unstop Rob,
Mercedes.
actually. Yeah.
Getting out of the way nicely for El Rey Giri. He's going to go onto a pair of soft tyres. And he's going to hope to undercut the rest of these people, the rest of these, and equal his best position in the Creator Series by getting a second. That's what I feel is up for grabs in this race. El Giri's just going to cruise through, but look at that. El Giri, 3 cars in the distance that separate him from a potential race win. 20 laps to go, and it's been mightily impressive. Let's see how quickly he can carve through these drivers on these newer tyres. I think he's just trying to ease into it as well. He doesn't want to take too much life out of them and leave himself vulnerable at the end. But here we are. I think Tim Martin, Meraki, Alex Gillen will hope that their screens flash the yellow for a safety car deployed, because they are about to be swamped by the man in the lean green grilling machine. How many laps will it take? I think it could be as simple as 1 lap here. He's shown that he'll put his car in a position to overtake here. He's not scared of a risk, even with the championship at hand. There we are, Meraki going for a move on Tim McMurdoch. DRS open for El Giri. He's right on the back of these drivers, John, and I think he'll start to pick them off one by one, quite cruelly.
Yes, indeed. Why am I hearing the Jaws music playing in the background? It's ominous at this point. Look at the amount of speed that he's able to take into the corners. He's right on the back of Tim Murdoch, pushing him round the turn effectively on corner exit. That's incredible. The grip difference. I wouldn't be surprised if I see him move around the outside in one of these corners, just driving all the way around the outside, just saying, I have all of the grip, not even a chance. We've had a little bit of a tangle, I think, between Adam Sanderson and yours sincerely there. But yeah, indeed, Meraki, look at this. Just, yeah, he's on the ball here. And I think the move is going. Yeah, there we go. He managed to get the switch back just off camera there. Just managed to get the switch back. Tim McMurdoch trying to fight it. He's going to go up the inside, throwing it in, just leaving no gap there. And just saying, if you want to pass me, you'll have to do it in the gravel trap. So the overtakes have been delayed by at least another straight.
Yeah, if you want it, come and claim it. El Giri trying to go up the inside around Ari Leindijk, getting very, very feisty. Alex Gillen goes to the lead of the race for the first time in a number of laps since his pit stops. And that fighting from Tim McMurdoch, he knows it's worth it, is keeping El Rey behind. And really, he needs El Rey to make a mistake here. He needs some kind of wing damage. He needs to force the issue with El Rey, because he won't have a chance for that race win otherwise. And I think these three are working together to create a chance of race winning victory here as they head through the series of S's, blind crests, peaks, troughs, and down into Skyflak. El Giri just approaches right on the gearbox of that McLaren, and the McLaren will have to do something spectacular to keep him behind once again. He full on sent it. He had a whisper of a chance of defense last lap, and he took every single slice of it to keep him behind. Now El Giri, DRS open. He will think about it again. Will he go up the inside? Tim McMurdoch covers that off. Then back to the racing line. Entitled to do it to open up the corner. But El Giri just going to have to be patient here and hope that he can slingshot through the cars ahead. The thing is, 2 cars ahead with DRS makes it very difficult to overtake, but Tim McMurdoch there, traction struggling as they go through Ari Leindijk, but Tim McMurdoch pulling away for now, the slipstream coming into effect. El Giri looking for the inside. Tim McMurdoch knows he can't push him any further. El Giri sends it far too hard in there, overcooks it into the back of Alex Gillen, and Alex Gillen is just going to block him there. Tim McMurdoch again throwing it in. El Giri just manages to keep the place and just about keeps his front wing as he charges out of Hugenholtz.
I was convinced that was going to end in a horrendous accident and collision then. But my God, he got it stopped somehow. Somehow got that stopped, and he's now on the back of Alex Gillen, just absolutely making sure that the mirrors are filled with that deep green colour, and making Alex aware every single turn, this may be the one where I get you. I was about to say that El Rey has to get a bit creative on how to overtake. That was definitely creative in the fact that the brakes only need to go on the apex, apparently. So into now the danger zone for Alex Gillen and Meraki. It certainly looks like El Rey gets the superior traction out of the corners. That's where he's making the difference. He's not having to use the battery so much. And look at that cornering speed. Alex going defensively almost on the last turn. And Meraki has had a slow exit as well. It's looking like Alex Gillen, the only one that can defend from El Rey at the moment. El Rey goes to the outside. He's past Meraki. Can he go all the way around the outside of Alex Gillen? He does. And now Alex has to try and keep that inside line, which will become the outside. El Rey's got it. Yeah, that was done and dusted. He was able to just go flat out in almost around that turn, and Alex Gillen could do nothing to defend against that. And I will suggest that maybe El Rey will be driving into the distance now with that one. Alex Gillen, as long as he's in the DRS zone, he will have a chance, although he's replenishing his battery as well. So maybe planning a counter-attack here. The gap is going to be oh so crucial on this one.
The championship leader in championship position here, and he is going to look to march onwards. Alex Gillen will get a little bit of a burst of DRS, but he's been so impressive through this final sector on traction. I wonder if Alex Gillen is going to be able to cling on with him and survive here for another DRS usage down the straight. I think he's just about got that one this time, but next time out he won't have it. Look at that, 1.1 seconds it increases to. DRS still active, closing down, but El Rey Guiri's just going to be able to put in the pain here. 1:10.629, fastest lap to boot. At the moment he'd be picking up 26 points. That's more than enough. It went up to claim the championship. He just needed to outscore Tom 97, who's languishing down in 11th position. And El Rey Guiri, he knows it. He knows this could be his triumphant day.
Yes, indeed. And speaking about other battles, I was just about to mention it. That guy Vince, GB68 and Infratic fighting for that P8 position there. They've been at it hammer and tongs, and I think Infratic has made a mistake there because he was in the battle as well as GB68. Goes past on the inside. The move is done before the corner. Although that guy Vince trying to go around the outside, he said it's not over yet. It is, though, pushed onto the curb. And, yeah, GB68 slams the door on that one, saying, yes, I know you want to get past, but I think otherwise, and I think you're going to have to wait a little bit for that one. But indeed, in terms of tyres, they are effectively on the same... no, they aren't, actually. That guy Vince is on the newer compound tyres. He has pitted, and so he will be looking to get past GB68. That's the situation for them. And so GB68 not doing him a favour here and fighting him all the way.
Yep, that guy Vince on the back of GB. He'll have DRS here down this middle straight. Not very long. He'll just look to position himself down the straight. But these two just working together, trying to use it. GB's had a bit of misfortune with an earlier incident and going a bit too deep into the Herns sector there. And now through box 13 onto Harry Leindyke. He may have DRS as well. It depends where you'd made that actual overtake there. I think, yeah, GB68 does have the DRS here, and he'll go defensive, will that guy Vince. And GB68 will just take that position. They're having a bit of fun here for these lower point scoring positions, aren't they?
Oh, he's got up the inside, though. So that guy Vince, GB68, overcooked it into the turn. And that guy Vince was just able to keep, maybe GB68 getting onto the marbles there, actually. So, yeah, he was just able to go back up the inside and say, yeah, you know that position? It's mine now, and I'll drive off into the distance, hopefully. But this has been an absolute battle of the ages here for 8th place. And it's looking like it will continue at least for a bit, as at the front, El Rey, as predicted, has driven off into the distance. This has been a champion's drive for the almost now to be crowned champion. Possibly. I cannot see how it goes wrong.
Jinxes,
I honestly cannot.
You're quite good at jinxes.
I'm trying. I am trying oh so hard, but it's not working at the moment.
Yeah, it's a jinx. I think it needs to come in. Although... The problem is here is El Rey Guiri just bins it into the wall, and a safety car doesn't come out. A big if there. Tom 97 needs to have a good scoring here. He needs maybe an extra 10 points, something like that. So he needs to get into at least a 7th position there. Maybe something like that to keep himself in position. It's even unlikely with where things stand. That guy Vince being not too far away from Tom 97. Tom 97 could get himself into those scoring positions, but yeah, it requires a big old El Rey Guiri mistake, and El Rey Guiri, he hasn't been jinxed yet so far, and he's drove aggressively in his characteristic style with everyone that he's come across, but he's drove well, and I can't actually fault any of his performance. He's come here with the intention of winning it on the track that he got his first Creator Series win at, and it's been a fabulous display of strategy and perseverance, and just the right amount of attack at the right amount of time.
It must be said as well, Tom97 tripped up all by himself, just braking too late and damaging his front wing in an overtake attempt. So, really, Tom97 was the first of the two to blink, and that has made the difference, really, because, well, El Rey has managed to keep his nose clean, quite literally, and just drive away into the distance. Tom97 has got caught up in arguably a very, very disappointing set of mistakes in the penalty and not being able to change the front wing, but also he's been stuck in traffic, and that has hampered his pace, it's hampered his consistency. He hasn't been able to get up into the major points paying positions to put even a slight amount of pressure on El Rey, so he doesn't make a mistake. As you said, even if he makes a mistake right now for the championship at the moment, doesn't do much, but we still have 12 laps left, so anything can change. I think we're about to see an overtake here from Tiamat Marduk on Meraki up the inside. Could he go for Alex Gillen as well? Oh, it was nearly on. Alex Gillen locking up the tires a little bit in sympathy. But yeah, Tiamat Marduk racy as ever. Will we see them actually pit? I have no idea.
Well, Tiamat Marduk needs to pit, right? He's done double medium stints, right? According to my timing. He needs to pit. That's frankly how it is. At this point, I'd call it goal hanging for a safety car. You know, he's hoping that safety car comes out and saves his bacon, basically, because you know he's just dropped away a second from Alex Gillen. So Alex Gillen clearly deciding to do a bit of battery usage there to confirm Tiamat Marduk, you need to go and pit. So remember, Alex Gillen needs a 10-second gap on these cars behind, so that's really crucial that he's just gone and spent that battery to build that gap. Tiamat Marduk may think, oh, I've lost the gap here. I've slowed Meraki down. I've got him out of the queue. Maybe this is my time to go and pit here. I wonder if Meraki will also follow him through. Now, he doesn't need to pit. He did go a little bit longer on those soft tyres in that first stint. Then he went on medium tyres. But Meraki here, and there we are. Tiamat Marduk is going into the pit. He knows that those tyres are cooked. Does he get it slowed down in time? He does. Nice and cautious into pit lane. Meraki, though, 1.3 seconds behind Alex Gillen. He's kind of hurt Alex Gillen in that.
Well, yeah, that for Meraki, that's disastrous because he now has to drain the battery if he has any left to catch up to Alex Gillen now. So, yeah, Tiamat Marduk not doing a favour to Meraki there. But indeed, for Tiamat Marduk, that's kind of put him out in a position where he has to overtake drivers now. He's right behind Safso and Razin, and Unstop Rob is slightly up the road from them. Probably, well, will he catch Unstop Rob? Actually might be able to with the laps left. It's certainly possible. But yeah, in terms of strategy, that's not really worked out. I'm sure, as you said, he was waiting for the safety car, but that safety car, which we predicted was quite likely to happen throughout the entire race, has not materialized. Apart from a yellow flag, we have had literally no sort of incidents that could cause a safety car. So in terms of bingo cards, that was not on my list.
Yeah, absolutely. So there we are. That's the actual graphic. The percentages came up. They didn't quite add up to 100%, and it said someone had 0%. So there is the actual in-progress vote at the moment. And it's an interesting exclamation mark driver of the day to vote. Also, the link's been dropped on YouTube. If you're watching over there, please do get involved and vote us your driver of the day. El Rey Giri looking impressive for that one too at the moment. But Meraki is he hasn't pitted. Tiamat Marduk needs to close down. He's got a bit of traffic ahead. Safso ahead, Razin Shai ahead, Unstopped Rob ahead. But Unstopped Rob, remember, he pitted. And he's kind of in a good position here. He could maybe even get a podium here as well. I mean, a really impressive day from the Frenchman for him.
Yeah, it's been a solid drive. Just possibly mistiming that first pit stop, pitting quite early compared to everybody else, and sort of getting himself out of sequence. So not having that DRS, having to overtake, I think, some slower drivers. So getting held back a little bit, and then not having the DRS when everybody else pulled into the pit. And getting overtaken on older tyres. So it was a solid opening stint, which has put him in this position now of P4. Still out of sequence, I must say, but it's been a very solid, fast drive. And on the circumstance where we had a safety car or something else happen, it could have been in contention for the win. That's the kind of strategy that you have to play if you want to win around here. You have to roll the dice and just see what happens. For El Rey, for example, it's worked out ever so well. For other drivers, and not so much. But yeah, for Unstop Rob, very good result after a few shaky races, must be said.
Yep, looking down the order, Tom 97 has actually caught up to the back of GB68 tyre-wise. He's on a lot better, fresher softs, so that should be an academic overtake when he does reach the back of him. He looks to be getting quite close as things stand if I finally get to the right person. There we are, Tom 97 must have just thrown it in at the right at the end there. He's not waiting around. He wants to get into that position that would keep the championship alive if Elray Giri comes a cropper, but he's in cruise mode. He is absolutely engaged cruise control at the front of this one. As emphatic, he's coming to the pits. He's going to have to serve an extra 10 seconds on that one because he, of course, had that drive-through earlier on. And Alex Gillen, he's currently not sitting on the podium as things stand. So he is got Meraki behind, got Unstuck Rob behind, Baz and Shai closing in, Safso closing in, and Tim McMurdoch certainly could have the pace to close in on those soft tyres at the end. At least maybe pick up the fastest lap.
Indeed, I'm puzzled by Alex Gillen's pace. He had supreme pace on those soft compound tyres, and it's kind of dropped off on the mediums. So I can't really explain it, apart from the balance of the car not working to his favour. But at least according to his opening stint, he should be just driving away from the others to build that 10-second lead, but it's not happening at the moment. So whether other drivers have found confidence now on the medium or soft compound tyres, which they didn't have before, or just whether the setup has not worked out in terms of just overall grip or grip across the entire race, I have no idea. Maybe as the fuel comes down, the setup hasn't worked to his favour with tyre temperatures or whatever. But yeah, there's a question mark hanging over that, and he'll have to put his foot down. He is building the gap, it must be said. The gap now quite high at the moment. I think Unstopped Rob is just within that 10-second window, but indeed to Meraki, yeah, he's definitely not in the safe zone at the moment.
Yeah, certainly not in a safe zone. We'll have to see how that comes down to it, but we only have a handful of laps left. Tim McMurdoch left it late on that free-stop strategy. It's a strategy that could have worked, but I think he just was a bit too cautious with that medium tyre pick through the middle stint. If he'd picked the soft tyre, it would have been very interesting to see what he could have done, but maybe just didn't have the confidence to take the softs as long as some of his competitors. So Tim McMurdoch will look at that as a missed opportunity for himself on the back of his old teammate Safso, the Season 1 champion, being about to be passed by the reigning champion for another few laps at least. And he is right on the back of this one. I can see him getting up to maybe fourth or fifth or fourth position, but I think he's just left himself a little bit too much work to be done really, really late here. We're almost out of the territory where a safety car would be called in this race, even if we did see a big collision, but we don't see any really big close skirmishes on track. So that's usually the kind of indicators that can easily bring out a safety car. So I have a feeling there won't be a safety car, as Emphatic has been a bit of a naughty boy and not let someone pass. Who is that he's not let past? It's, I think, the lead car of Alex Gillen, is it, that it was coming through? I think it may have been Alex Gillen who was just hindered by Emphatic for a few laps there.
That will not help Alex in terms of his attempt to get a 10-second gap, so I'm sure he'll be very, very happy about that one. It's a track where the danger is holding someone up, especially with the blind crests and everything, and the rolling corners. You kind of get yourself in a situation where you have to be looking in your mirrors, looking behind you, which makes you more prone to mistakes where you could indeed hold someone up as well. So, yeah, not the easiest of situations. Sometimes, though, you just get the wrong side of the stewards. And, yeah, indeed, it's starting to look very overcast. It says no rain expected, but the weather is almost taking a turn for the worst here. Could we see a roll of the dice? I think it's too late for that, but I almost had a glimmer of hope then.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers before the race are saying, oh, please no rain, please no rain. Be careful what you wish for, because I think the rain could have helped out and spiced this one up. As Alex Gillen, in a bit of a fight with some back markers here, I think they're using him as a bit of DRS, and it's, not the best, but, when Meraki catches up, he doesn't need to pass them because he'll gain that position from Alex Gillen in situ, basically. But L.A. Giri, he's built up a 10-second gap to Alex Gillen. He's just had by far the best strategy here today in the Creator Series, and he has outclassed his performance, his competitors every single way. With Tom 97 working his way back in the recovery drive, decent recovery drive. He was right at the back of the grid. He's in 8th position. It would have been interesting to see how he could have took the fight to Elway Giri if he just kept his nose clean throughout it all. But Alex Gillen just starting to struggle on those tyres. 31 laps they've done, 36 laps for Meraki's medium tyres. We don't think they'll go into any kind of puncture territory. We've spoken about puncture territory all day. To my knowledge, there has been no puncture. Yeah, it's been a very interesting race. Of course, usually we see hard and mediums being the optimum choice. Of course, hards being disallowed from next season completely. So this, shows that soft and mediums aren't always perfect. But this is a track that's really soft and mediums are the tyres to choose naturally. So that's what the difference will be. As Hoodie Pete almost gets it completely wrong and takes out the man in second.
Cool, that was ever so close. I think there might have been a tiny bit of contact there. But I think Emphatic as well wants to get another 10-second penalty for holding up Alex Gillen here. He's got one, he wants another one. Indeed, or wanting to get back that gap of 10 seconds that he's now lost. So, yeah, it's not helping Alex Gillen at all in terms of getting that gap to Unstop Rob. And in fact, Unstop Rob has closed the gap now by a further 2 seconds. So, yeah, the strategy not working out for Alex. In terms of the race overall, it's been quite a dramatic race. We've had quite a few strategies, definitely a huge amount of overtakes. And even once the drivers had pitted on that initial stint, we always had the question marks of who was on the correct strategy. We thought Elray maybe had gone a bit too early as well as Unstop Rob and Razin. But in the end, actually, it was one of the better strategies to be on. And we found out very late on that pitting two, as we see a driver there, one of the Saubers having a huge moment on the grass as well. I think that's Dark Viper and Hoodie Pete battling. But yeah, Dark Viper was on the grass there, 2 wheels, and had a huge, two huge moments, 3 huge moments, nearly a collision. Oh my days, they are battling for, I think that's the last points paying position. That's why they're fighting so hard for it. And indeed, that was nearly 3 big accidents, and we might have another one as Dark Viper again on the grass, just banging wheels at the moment, trying to find a way past. Very, very aggressive driving, creative driving, it must be said as well, but no cigar at the moment.
Yep, indeed. These two showing why they're so good in the F2 together. The funness, the chaos, the vibes of F2 overflowing into F1 here. Both reserving in the F1 today. And yeah, absolutely going for it. Old mediums versus old softs for these two. So they're really on similar kind of tyre age, performance, life, all of that gubbins. But we can confirm Elway Giri is the driver of the day. He's picked up that accolade. He's going to pick up a few other accolades as well today. He'll go back to back here in Zandvoort if he can maintain the next couple of laps. But we'll keep an eye out on Dark Viper and Hoodie Pete, because I think they're going for it again. Down into Tarzan, 2 wide they go. Hoodie Pete now up the inside. Will he have the better position around the outside of Hugenholtz? I think there's a bit more contact, a bit more bumper cars from the two. Who's going to have the better slingshot out of these series of corners? They're really putting on a show here for that final point-playing position. Dark Viper holds it at the moment, but Hoodie Pete would love to take another point for his championship collection he's had so far of observing this season. Dark Viper can be better, can be way further up the field, but just hasn't had the pace today. And Dark Viper just about maintaining that position.
Indeed, they are battling for it, though. I had a huge smile on my face the entire time that way through. It's so great to see drivers go wheel to wheel and battle it out for no matter what position it is, no matter how many points it is. And it looks like the two Aston Martins are going across in formation. There's still another lap to go, so that's an interesting one. A lap too early, guys. You'll have to, I think, Elray, you'll have to back off a little bit if you want to do the formation lap. And it's looking like they might do it, actually.
Yeah.
So that's coordinated. That would be awesome to see, to be honest, because they have been the better duo of any team. And so they thoroughly deserve the amount of success they've had this season. The consistency, once again, a race where consistency has paid off for Elray, putting himself in the best position for GB68. It's been a race of what if, really. He did have quite a bit of pace, but indeed he's showing it right now, keeping up with Elray and drifting through the corners a little bit, which is always good to see. Nearly drifting into a wall there, everything's fine. But as we see Elray onto the last couple of corners now,
it's time, and he can't ruin this one, can he? It's Since the start of F1 24, he's been the man with the Midas touch, and where he had his first big golden moment in the Creator Series, he is going to have another golden moment on the dunes of Zandvoort, and Elray Giri is your Creator Series championship. Hail to the king.
Incredible stuff, as we've still got battles going on between, I think that's Infratic and Skyzy, maybe. No, in fact, I think that was yeah, it was Infratic and Skyzy. Yes, sorry, my apologies. As across the line, we have also Unstopped Rob takes it by 1/10 of a second from Meraki. That was the battle we were seeing right there. Difficult to see the cars coming across the line there. But what an incredibly dramatic moment for them, with Alex Gillen all the way down in 5th. So it did cost him in the end that 10-second penalty. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic stuff. He's just got that second position on Stop Rob. Fantastic. Alex Gillen falling down to 5th. Tim McMurdoch charge at the end there. Maybe he would have thought, what would have happened if I got on those softs slightly earlier? Matty D13 and GB68, I believe, the only 2 cars out there. GB68, massive congratulations on the constructors. It's a double for Aston Martin, Elray Giri and GB68 taking the double with that in, with Elray Giri's taking, of course, the Drivers' Championship today. Matty D13 coming over the line. GB68 smashing into Matty. You can see Debray flying down the straight. That is an epic moment to end today's stream. And that is absolute chaos. GB68, I don't know whether he actually made the end of the race there with his DNF. We'll have to see. But Elray Giri is the champion. We have confirmed it for the first time in Creator Series history. It hasn't gone down to the final round. Elray Giri has crushed the morale all season. This race, he's been absolutely impeccable. His first win since round 5 back in Austria earlier this season. Tom 97. It didn't matter where he would finish today. It didn't matter about that mistake. Elray Giri took the win at a canter, was on the right strategy, picking up the laudits, and there we are. We can confirm Elray Giri has won this race, and he's won the Season 7 Championship crown. So, fantastic for the king, the Spaniard king. What a job he's done, hasn't he, Isa?
He has done an amazing job the entire season, just putting the car where it needed to be, getting those points consistently, and it's made all the difference. Perhaps not the fastest driver over a quali lap, although today did really show glimpses of that. And perhaps not always the fastest in the race, but he has managed to make the best of it and not have as many mistakes in a season which has been littered with mistakes. And yeah, indeed, consistency is key. He deserves it, and Aston Martin deserve it as well. I just want to do a shout out as well to Unstop Rob there, just getting it at the end from Meraki. Those 2 drivers, we thought that they were sort of in a no man's land, but actually, it turned out well for them at the end. Like the last lap of the race really changed everything for them.
Yeah, it kind of got overshadowed there, of course, by the championship moment involving Elray Giri, but you know, we have to watch those key moments, and I'm sure all of his fans in chat currently here, welcome along to the Creator Series. If it's your first time chatting, might drop us a follow. We're here every Saturday providing commentary for the Creator Series, and it's great to have you along. And it's great to see that Elray Giri, he's had a bit of a story with the Creator Series. Joined in Season 3, had a lot of clashes, took some time away from the series, came back last season, was involved in a couple of on-track fights, a couple of wins here and there. I don't think anyone could have predicted F1 24's platform would have been so good for the Spanish driver.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a small change to get into that zone, to find a comfortable position to be in, and it certainly looks like that's been the case for him this season. There's been some drivers struggling a little bit with how to get into the groove, and he's just taken that opportunity, gone with it, absolutely compounded the advantage possibly that he had from having that confidence. And yeah, once again, that has made the difference. Other drivers, though, have been unlucky as well. Tom 97 has had quite an up and down season, it must be said, but also some other drivers like Alex Gillen. A season of what ifs as well. But that is always the case. It's motor racing. There's always an element of doubt and uncertainty, and that's why we love it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic to have the Creator Series, the F1, the F2, the WRC, creators making content together. That's what we love to see. And today maybe wasn't the best race we've had content-wise. I'm not sure what the driver's eye view of it would have been. But we had that chaos at the start. But when those those strategies diverged. They didn't reconverge at the end, and it was always Elray Giri. From 20 laps out, you could see that he picked the right strategy. Would have been interesting with Alex Gillen. And we do have some interviews we could pull in. Meraki is in the interview waiting room. Should we pull him in for an interview? The man who finished 3rd today?
We should indeed. Let's try and make that happen.
Oh, okay. Bye, Ben. Hello.
Oh, hello.
That's to me.
Welcome
Okay.
to Victory Box. That was an interesting finish to the race, wasn't it? How did that one go for you? Did you expect to be in that position?
Not really. Not really. It was just a boring race. I had a little comment from Alex near the start saying that I've turned into like a really passive driver. And I ended up finishing ahead of him, which is great. And yeah, because he said that as well, I went for a send on Rob. It just didn't work. It was one of the worst sends I've ever done. So I had to let him through. So I thought I might try and spice it up at the end. It didn't work, so we had to be fair and let Rob go. But it was just a boring race. There's just not much more I can say to that. It was
You always say it's a
yeah,
boring
one
race, though.
stops.
Whenever you're like, oh, I haven't won, it's like, it's a boring race. Was that just
Oh.
not? Did it just not vibe? Were the battles always kind of going away from you in that one, Meraki?
Well, it was literally just the first 40 or 30 laps. I was just following people in a DRS train, and then I lost DRS, and then I boxed, and then I was just kind of like on mediums by myself in a little train for like 3 laps, and there we go. I had Rob hunting me down at the end, which he got me. So fair play to him.
It's one of those old school tracks, isn't it? Like where you have to be a bit strategic. It's more of a thinking race, and sometimes it doesn't have racing for individual drivers. There, certainly from our perspective, there was a lot to talk about. That's for sure. But yeah, it doesn't work out for certain drivers in the end. But at least you can take some confidence in the fact that you did have quite a bit of pace, and the confidence is building back up.
It is. The fact that I think once I start playing the game more during the week, like I literally haven't played the game since like Saturday, and it was the same for last week as well. I literally just play it on Saturdays now.
That's the key.
So
That's
once
why
I start, true. It was but once I start playing it again, who knows? Maybe I'll have a bit more pace. But Elray was in a different league today, so massive congrats to him for winning the championship. So he's deserved it all season long. He's insane.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for joining the commentary booth. Another podium. You're over 1,000 points now in the.
Oh
in
yeah,
the
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I think you may have pulled ahead of Tim McMurdoch as well, and you're the overall points leader.
Nice.
If that means something to you,
nice. Okay, that's better than the podium. I'll take that.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay.
That's better than the podium.
Yeah. Good job with that. Actually, did he finish just behind you? You actually may be equal on points, so maybe it's less good for you. Let's ruin your day a little bit more.
I got Inter's pole, right?
You got into pole. You were 3 points behind
Beautiful.
beforehand, unless you got
Beautiful.
fastest lap, which I think GB got. So I think you're equal on points at the top. So
No, it's funny. The qualifying was the most entertaining part because I got Inter's pole by 1,000th with 1 second left.
yes, yeah, exactly. But we kind of missed it, and then we're like, oh wait a second, these people at Team McMurdoch, Alex Gillen, they completely mistimed it and didn't get the lap in time.
Yeah, I definitely meant to time it with 1 second left. That was definitely the intention.
Well, thank you very much for joining the booth, Meraki, and we'll wish you well. I think there's a certain driver in chat that a lot of the fans would like us to get involved. I think it's going to be Safso that we put. No, obviously it's David Castilla, Elray Giri, the king, the winner of the Season 7 Creator Series Championship. Elray Giri, how does it feel?
Vamos. Really good, really good. Happy to be the first champion to win before the last race. And I want to thank a lot to my community. They are the best. And yeah, really happy. I think it's the most important season in Creator Series because it's been the longest, 13 races. I'm not going to race the next one because I'm in the middle of a moving. And also, we've already had 5 different handling models. And nevertheless, we've been really quick in all of them. So really, really happy to finally be champion in the Creator Series and in the most valuable, let's say, season.
I have a question for you, and it's a bit of a technical question. How do you do it?
I don't know, mate. I've been improving step by step, especially in this league where there are a lot of difficult rivals in terms of battling. My approach since the beginning was to avoid any contact. So for me, it's been pretty easy regarding pace because I knew I was fast all the season. So I just had to avoid others. In previous seasons, I was as quick as now, but I lack of patience probably. And now I've been, waiting for others to make their mistake and take any opportunity. So yeah, I've been improving a little bit with some setups also from Sim Racing Center and BSE, which I didn't have previously in F1 23. I was with time trial setups, and also I've improved a lot thanks to my brother, who is my engineer during the races. He managed to calm me down, and yeah, really happy.
With it being the final race that you could compete in, did that change your mindset? Because today you've just come in and absolutely dominated. Of course, you got your first win in the Creator Series way back in Season 3 here. It's maybe a track you like, but knowing it was your final chance to do it on track, did that change your mindset?
Not really. I knew it was my biggest or my strongest circuits. Like you have said, I won, I think, previously, and it was my first win here. So I am really quick. And like 3 weeks ago, I was racing here also, and I felt amazing with the car. And today it was the same feeling. I felt connected with the setup, especially. And I didn't need to train a lot. I was like 30 minutes before the race doing some laps, and yeah, like this race is one of my best circuits in the calendar. So I was confident.
Makes it sound so easy. I'm surprised. You're just full of confidence. We saw that during the race, just the confidence you had in picking the strategy that you did, getting involved in the overtakes at the start of the race. Was there any moment during that race that you thought maybe it wasn't yours to take?
Well, I knew that I had to be really patient, especially in the beginning with all the DRS trains. I was worried about possible attacks from Ben and Alex, who were, I think, helping Tom to try to fight for the championship until the next race. So I was really, really patient. Like I was saving tires with a medium compound, saving ERS deployment and everything. And finally, I had a contact with Tom, and unfortunately for him, he broke the front wing, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if that's not the case. It was unfortunate for him, and I want also to congratulate Tom because his performance is encouraging always. He's the fastest in the creators, and the fights we've had already during the series have been amazing, and he's a great rival. I'm not happy he's leaving for next season. Hopefully he'll come back eventually. So, well, congrats to the others championship contenders as Tiamer Marduk and Alex.
Absolutely. And any kind of plans for celebration tonight? Any thoughts in your head?
Not yet. I'll be in Madrid next week, so I will have a lot of fun with my brother and some friends. So really looking forward, but the party needs to wait for next week.
Yeah, of course. Well, I tell you what, thank you very much. Congratulations, Constructors as well. You've won as well last week. So just massive congratulations to you. You've been unstoppable this season, and it'll be great to see you maybe try and defend that crown next season.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thank you, Elbe. I mean, what a lovely guy he is. He's that on-track persona, that elbows out persona, is completely contrasting with when you speak to David. He's a lovely bloke, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, taking the time out to sort of congratulate your championship rival as well and just thank him for the season, and also wishing that he comes back as well. It's just not every driver will do that, and so what a gentleman way of rounding out the sort of a championship winning experience by thinking of other people. So yeah, incredible drive, incredible season, incredible person, say no more.
Yeah, I think maybe it'd be remiss of us to not actually talk to the person who's lost out on the championship today. And El Rey alluded to it there. Maybe one of your last Creator Series races, Tom. How did it feel out there? Things just did not go to plan. You kind of had to boom or bust today to be able to win the championship, right?
Well, I wasn't planning to be here. I was going to just give Elray the GGs, but no, I'm here. Hello. Yeah, I will race the last race because obviously now I cannot win the championship. So him being absent makes no difference to me. So I can race for fun, right? So there's that. So there'll be one more. So yeah.
So just to explain that, you had this plan where El Rey wasn't going to race the final race, and you were just going to throw the championship, right? You were going to chicken out, right?
That's
right,
the Gareth
Tom?
Allen version of the story. You know, that's a biased view. The objective truth from the source, Tom 97 view, was that El Rey and I have missed a race apiece. He's not attending the final race, so if it were to come down to the championship being decided in the last race by him being absent, I wouldn't feel that's a good way to win. So I was not going to race.
I would have joined as Tom 97 on Steam and raced for you, don't worry.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, mate. That's fine.
You still would have scored no points, but it would have gone down to the final race at least.
not far different from today's race, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. From P8,
I mean,
got a handful of points.
It just went wrong. That collision with El Rey. What happened there?
It's on me. My bad. But anybody else on lap 17, I don't even know what lap it was. To be fair, lap 20, I ain't got a clue. But anybody else probably just takes a wider line. But it's always got to be, as I always say, it's always on the limit with El Rey. So even if you go for like a little half move, you're going to get in a bit of trouble. And yeah, last race, I didn't get damage for the contact at Japan turn 2, but this time I did get damage. So yeah, I boxed. Unfortunately, game did not change my wing. I also, like an idiot, sped. And had to take 2 stops in 2 laps, and the second one being compounded by a 10-second penalty on top of the wing change. So it was just generally a bit of a, when it rains, it pours. So I just tried to, drive my pace at the end there. I did think at one time there would be a safety car, and then I kind of realised, the more likely drivers who would trigger one have already retired, so I don't think it's going to happen. So I just tried to do the best I could, which was P8 on track. Tried to get the fastest lap, but a few drivers wanted to go for it at the end. So yeah, that was all.
Can you take maybe some consolation from all of the problems that you've had, in that you have been one of, if not the fastest driver over the season, with just a few mishaps getting in your way? Is there any thinking along those lines that you have?
Oh, definitely. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure Gareth will confirm, but I believe I don't know if El Rey's equaled me, but I think I have the most race wins still. 3-2?
It's 3-3, I believe.
3-3 now,
yeah,
okay, so there we go. Up until today anyway, so that does highlight that I've had the pace, and there has been those races where, my mistakes are my mistakes, so that's on me, but there has been races like Qatar where I disconnected 3 times and eventually obviously DNF'd because of the timing of the reconnection, so I should have won the race, got a 0. Austria, I had a power cut, was a lap down when I managed to get back in the session, so again, only got a point in that race. Those 2 could have been very valuable points for me at this stage. So there's just been one too many things happening, when I've had the pace. So, it is what it is.
Absolutely. Well, Tom, commiserations. It'll be great to see you next week for what could be your final Creator Series race for a while. But always great to see you in the series, and always great to see Tom 97 either dominate a race or bottle it in the strangest way. And we had the latter today. So commiserations, but yeah, we will see you again next week, and yeah, thank you very much for joining.
Cheers.
Don't think you like my possible comments.
It was a bit prodding, let's put it that way.
Boink on the head, Murray Walker style. Yeah, I mean, it's true though. Like he has the pace to win. He was saying it there. He has the pace to win. It just doesn't always come out that way. You think back to Hungary. He made a few mistakes in that race. Could have easily been a win. You think back to Japan last week. He just didn't quite nail down the strategy and close that gap down. But we've seen the opposite side of that. We saw Belgium where he just picked the right strategy, turned it on ahead, and that race was his. So he's an interesting one, certainly, Tom97. I think him leaving the Creator Series, focusing more on his league racing journey, it'll be a shame for the Creator Series, but I wish him well on his venture anywhere he goes.
Yeah, an incredibly fast driver, so it does make sense for him. And I as well, I've raced against him in the past. I know how fast he is when I saw him racing off into the distance. So yeah, it's just an incredibly talented guy, and also as equally humble as well. So I'm sure he will do incredibly well.
Yeah, lovely bloke. And lovely bloke David Castillo is. But that's the end of the broadcast. It's not the end of Season 7. We have one more race next week. Of course, we have the F2 Championship wrapping up next Friday. That championship is going down to the final race, which is kind of like the opposite, because usually F2 is done and dusted with before the F1 series is certainly. But we also have WRC on Monday nights. Please join us for that. If you haven't dropped Creator Series a follow on all our social media gubbins, it's just ahead of us. And wherever you're watching us, drop us a follow if you haven't already. We're here most Saturdays across the year for the F1 Creator Series. But when you're not on the Creator Series Eyes Amusing, where can people find you?
You can find me at Anything Is Amusing. If you type that in most of the social medias, you will find me, and usually a clip of me crashing into a tree or something else. Usually something else, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a shout out on the Twitch side. So go and follow him. Some great streams,
Many thanks.
Fantastic WRC content, and always a pleasure to share a booth with you, Eyes Amusing. It's fantastic to do so. Great job as always. I've been Gareth Allen TV on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of those things. Twitter is a cesspit, but that's my main social media at the moment. So if you want to follow me there and not be a bot, I'd be much obliged. But today really belongs to one man. It belongs to El Rey Giri, David Castillo, the king. He has been superb all season, consistent, always there. 3 race wins now with what is his second back-to-back win in the Creator Series at Zandvoort. And congratulations to him once again. Thank you everyone who has tuned in tonight. Don't forget to tune in for the finale at Italy next week. And have a great evening. Goodbye.